Welcome, Squidling, to the Squidding Pool.
Squidwoo Pathfinder.
let's see how this goes. This is going to be an interesting scientific experiment as I try to figure out where the music lives.
Just call me Mangola.
So I can turn it down. It's over here. That's what we're looking for. And as I try to figure out how to switch around to my various new scenes here, that's what we're looking for. This is going to take some getting used to. What's up, chat? How you guys doing? Welcome to an actual frickin' table.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yeah,
an actual
this is
table.
a table.
It's a table.
We're doing the thing. This has been so ridiculously long in the making at this point that it actually feels super weird to
does feel
actually
really
be
weird.
doing it.
Yeah.
It's such a different kind of situation, such a different environment. The camera is 99 feet away from me, and I have my party right in front of me, so when they do stupid things, I can just reach over and smack them. I don't know yet, but I'm sure you'll give me a reason.
That's not in doubt.
So, I'm gonna try, this is habit A, to let you guys know I'm going to try somewhat to get out of. Chat's over here. So if you see me gazing wistfully off in this direction,
It's because
He's longing to be with more interesting people.
that's where chat lives.
no,
And for the
that's
moment,
where Chad lives.
For the moment, I'm going to need to look over there a lot because we have a whole new setup. Things may be wrong that I'm unaware of. The biggest one that
Usually
I'm
me.
probably aware of is that there is an amount of white noise, which will be more or less depending on, well, you know, moving and rubbing microphones and whatnot. The adjusting to these things is going to take some amount of time, and that is definitely a work in progress.
It's gonna be fun.
I also have not exactly dialed in how much delay I have to put on the face cams in OBS because it seems to change on an every time I turn this mixer on basis. Those two things I am aware of. But for the most part, we've got us a setup, and we've got us a table, and we've got us a relatively neat looking fucking background, I'd imagine.
And people.
And people,
We're not
relatively neat
important.
looking fucking people, I guess.
We're not
I think you guys
important.
are here too. You guys are here too doing your stuff. So we've got
We're just puppets on sticks. Dum,
two
dum.
people that I imagine most of you will recognize. Bryn, of course, and then Derp at the far end of the table here, who are both members of the War for the Crown team that plays over for Paizo on Mondays. You may be familiar with these two over here from our brief foray into...
Goblin
We didn't even
Mania?
actually... We did a very brief foray in the second edition.
Brief
with
for it, yeah, and then we had God's Mouth Heresy before
a
that.
goblin adventure where everything went horribly wrong
Nothing went wrong.
at spectacular speed. You blew up a tavern. Somehow.
Somehow.
Through failure. That's
Cool
how we did
goblins
it.
don't look at
And
explosions.
a couple sessions of God's Mouth Heresy before that, just to try and do some things.
To make friends
This
with snakes.
Hi, I'm the new guy.
Here's the new guy back here. Our new friend, who I think it would be a hilarious tale of how we know you in the first place, actually, for the chat.
Oh, do we need to go into that?
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Well, I'm the cable guy.
he's
So
literally...
I came over here to...
We're gonna call you Mustache.
Okay, that's fine. And I was sent over here because you guys didn't have any internet.
Remember the last time I was bitching about Spectrum on stream for like 3 hours? And I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna get a goddamn Spectrum tech out here to fix my shit. That dude showed up. So,
And he was just like a lost kitten. He just stayed.
true to my word, I got the goddamn cable guy to come make sure this shit works. You see? You see the links I go to, chat? I didn't just have a Spectrum tech come over. A Spectrum tech now actually will sit in on each of our Pathfinder sessions to make sure everything is working correctly and nothing disconnects. No, but he came over and recognized the huge pile of Warhammer shit I had sitting on a table. And, you know,
Things
5 steps
happen.
later, welcome to the table.
No problem.
So,
This is step number 11.
Kindred spirits.
So, we're going to test out a lot of things today, but it's not just this new setup. It's not just a huge pile of new cameras that are literally everywhere in this room, or a new audio scene with these mics. We're going to be testing out 2nd edition, and we've done that very, very briefly. Most of us except you, who has at least seen an amount of it. No, we're still incredibly new at
Welcome,
this. It's a very
Squidling,
different
to the Squiddy
kind
Pool.
of beast, where things work in a very odd way. And there again, Ryder, thank you for that sub. They're not popping up on the stream right now because I had no idea where to put them, but the sound still plays. And opinion to you guys, would you prefer? I don't know if I should mute that or not. I kind of wanted to,
No, that's fine.
but I left it on because I didn't really see any reason not to
fine.
have it on. It doesn't pop
That's
anything
fine.
up on the stream or anything. It just makes the sound. I mean, it's not like you guys are gonna hear it.
I don't want to hear
Exactly.
it. I only want to hear your dulcet tones.
Okay, well, good news. You're gonna get a shitload of that because I literally do not stop talking at any point. So
You'd be a terrible streamer if you did.
that's true. You
Yeah.
want to know the weird part? With all this new setup, with all these new cameras at this table and everything, the weirdest part of this is that I am not wearing a headset. I am incredibly
You're just naked.
Yeah.
acutely
You're
aware
naked.
of the fact
Your ears miss the tender embrace
You're
of
like
your
you're like
headset.
a
That I
woman
don't
wearing
have a
no
headset
bra.
on.
Yeah.
Like you're feeling exposed and unsupported, but it's okay, man. We're here
That's
for
the
you.
best metaphor I have ever
We'll
heard.
support your
I can't-
your hypothetical titties. It's okay.
I can't disagree with it, really. I mean, I don't have the personal experience, but you just
I
told me on
do.
your comparison.
I
so
do. Trust me,
That
man.
sounds good to me. Anyway, we're going to be playing through briefly while we work out the kinks and, just kind of get familiar with this whole setup in 2nd edition in a nutshell, and in general, rather. We're going to be playing through the Fall of Plaguestone, which is the same thing that damn near everybody did when 2nd edition came out, or has been doing, or is doing, because it's one of 2 modules that exist. There's the Fall of Plaguestone, and then there's the whole ass adventure path with Age of Ashes, which we also definitely want to do. But I figured it would be good to at least dabble for a few levels, more than a one-off session, build a character, level up a couple times, kind of get acclimated with how the system works, so you're not stuck with a character you may not end up really liking mechanically for, I don't know, 2 years.
Not gonna happen.
Depending on how an adventure path ends up going, and to get us just a little more acquainted with how everything works in the first place. So, expect,
The unexpected?
well, always expect the unexpected, possibly an occasional Spanish Inquisition. Definitely need to pick up this book numerous times to try and look up what the hell it is that we're supposed to be doing in some given random situation.
Is it someone new?
We do have Google. I could also just look it up on the phone, but I'm attempting to avoid that as much as possible. Being able to look at the players is so fucking cool.
Yeah, we have faces.
You
wonderful.
have faces. You have entire bodies, actually.
I will
Let's
actually
not talk
give
about
Paizo
that.
a lot of credit. They have a pretty comprehensive index.
They do. They do. I should probably just have this open to the index right now.
Yes.
Probably
But I
be a-
currently have it open to the weapon abilities page because I feel like me just reading, this guy has a finesse agile backswing kukri spinner. And I'm going to have to look up all those things and figure out what the hell his weapon is actually
I'm just
supposed to
imagining
do.
like this giant fidget spinner with knives taped to the end of it.
I mean, my rapier actually has the zestfully clean sub-trait. I don't even know what that is.
Paizo
Oh.
doesn't either.
That means that as long as you haven't used it yet today, it has a plus 90 to damage.
It's gonna help with my dander.
So we're gonna
That's that
learn.
magnifying glass of ant speak, isn't it?
We're gonna
Only
learn
works in
some
sunlight.
things. Anime Freaky's Twin, thank you for the sub bomb going out there. But as long as everything sounds largely okay, and I haven't seen chat losing their minds about
No-
anything, which
no
means it
active
should
reading.
largely be all right. I know there's a little
Yeah.
bit of a fuzz in the background. That's something that I am still kind of working on trying to remove. And secondary fun fact, the vast majority of setup for this has actually been fist fighting a mixer. Fist fighting a mixer has taken me dramatically more time than we spent setting up these decorations behind all of our wonderful players here. And it is, trust me, so much better than it was.
You don't even know the
It
things
was-
we had to do to a
oh
radio
my
shack to get this
God.
out.
Pretty bad.
It was so fucking bad. It was atrocious and completely unbearable.
We ate our feelings one entire
And
Sunday.
we spent, all of us, 4 of us and 2 of them played Warhammer in the kitchen.
You
one
guys are just slackers.
entire Sunday
Hey, that was
in
a
here
tough game.
trying every possible, conceivable thing to figure out why it wasn't coming through cleanly. And it actually turned out it was the circuits on this entire side of the house. So we actually have a 50-foot extension cable running through our whole house to the living room to power this mixer. Because you get a choice of plugging a mixer into a circuit or using a pair of those little wall LAN adapters to run the internet through it. You don't get to do both. They don't play nicely with each other.
As well, they shouldn't.
And I will try and figure out that delay thing I may actually be able to figure that real quick, if I just swivel over here to OBS. I think that is a thing I can possibly fix immediately. Chat, is the camera delayed or is the audio delayed? Which way is it? Because I will either try to fix it or I will literally make it twice as bad. Let me know what
where
direction.
this is going.
Well, let me know what direction we're doing. The camera is a little delayed by like half a second. I think I can fix that. So.
Everything's about to explode.
Oh god, this is so dangerous.
Oh, it's totally possible. Everything just blows up.
Exclamation square.
All right, guys. Here's what we're gonna do. Start talking slower, before each other. That way they can't tell what's delayed. Because I'm just gonna start talking before you do. But act like we're talking at the same time.
But you talk over me all the time anyway.
That's because we're married.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is. Actually, this I can fix quite easily. Let's go ahead and throw.
Quite.
That's the
easily,
wrong
he says.
keyboard. Let's go ahead and throw this. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to affect when I turn it on midstream. So, but that should definitely at least make it better.
It's gonna make it worse.
Because I realize that's because I switched to a different audio device, because this is a totally different thing from the Yeti, and that's just an OBS and streaming thing. You always have to put at least 200-300 milliseconds of delay on the microphone, and this had no delay on it. Better, because that's an easy fix. I can just increase or decrease that number real fast before we get going. Should it go a little further, a little less far? It seems pretty much gone now. Yeah, that's a super easy fix. That's just an OBS settings change. I put it to exactly the same delay the Yeti was. I figure it'll be mostly identical now. Much better.
All right, awesome.
Hey.
Let's
Easy.
do this.
First hurdle overcome. High fives, guys. We did
Zombies.
it.
Done.
High fives. We're so cool.
We're gonna do this so hard.
Now, second test. Does that sound atrocious when we do things like that in the microphones? Because this
It's
is
so
a secret
cheesy.
test.
I don't know if we should ever try it again.
I don't ever want to get you on
I
my
mean, at
phone
some
number
point
again.
you guys are gonna miss,
Zombie.
and then the glasses are gonna go
Just
everywhere.
gonna toss those all over the table, ruin everything, trying to find awesome.
I still really think we should bring my cat to this feed and just see what happens.
If we want to truly let loose chaos into the room.
I mean, do you guys want to play Pathfinder or do you want to play Cat Wrangler 2019?
It is.
Because
A
It's
good
the same
point.
thing.
It's a good point.
Does it come with all the
from my perspective, it
$300
is the
of
same
DLCs?
thing. From your perspective, it is a very different game.
The
Alright.
multiple
I'm playing
$100
Cat
of
Wrangler
DLCs
either
are
way.
Let's
all
do
the
this.
equipment that Squid went and set
I'm
up,
ready.
so.
Fair.
All right,
We
and
got
I'm
the
also
DLCs
aware that
before
for
the
some
game.
reason my mic is a little weirder than everybody else's mic, and I think that might actually be my microphone. I think that my microphone might be the one dud of the group, but it's okay. We'll figure it out at a later occasion. For now,
Don't need to hear the GM.
the GM's not.
Yeah.
Well, they can hear me fine. It's just not quite as good quality as you guys, and I'm not entirely positive why that is. I don't.
Probably because
Maybe because they're used to hearing you with the Yeti.
yeah, they
I
probably
think
are
it
so
honestly
used to
is
it.
the
Yeah.
fact that they are used to my voice through a different medium. But it sounds weird to me too. I think it is a bit off, and it might be that this mic specifically.
But
is
you
a
are
little
also
stupid.
used to hearing yourself through the Yeti.
I'm also used to hearing myself through the Yeti. I'm not sure. It is definitely a different.
Why don't you just move the big
Setup.
thing over
Do you
here?
have a monitor to hear yourself through the microphone right now?
No.
Okay.
This is getting weird.
Does it look like I have things in my
I was surprised. So I'm like,
Honestly, I was
how
wondering
do
if
you
you had
know
an
how you
implant.
sound
No,
through
I
your
don't.
microphone?
No, I
Your
just know
ears are just...
from setting this up that my microphone. Is
Okay,
better.
okay. I was
Not-
gonna say,
this
like,
is- there's nothing
what
specific as to this
sorcery
exact
are you
microphone.
doing?
Believe it or not, I have actually tested this a huge amount. And I see in chat already, this is the last thing I wanted to ask before we started to get going. You will notice that the players have a majestic spread of background behind them, and I have a wall that exists. So if any of you have any wonderful genius ideas for what to put back there,
Green screen.
guess what they're recommending?
What?
Yes, that's a horrible guess.
A window overlooking a field with unicorns in it with rainbows.
That was an equally horrible guess.
Porn?
That was actually better than hers. Giant map of Galarian.
Oh,
Well,
that's a good idea.
if we could
We
get
have- I
one,
have
then
huge
yeah,
back-
that
I
would
can-
be
I can
great.
get-
I will
Can we
get
go
you
big
one.
Well, no, how
We've been trying to get one for like 8 months.
Well, do you have an image? I mean, we could just.
No, we've been trying to get one for 8 months.
She
Oh my
still
God.
didn't peep.
I have a compressor on. Don't worry. Bryn has 2 settings. Bryn has tiny little Bryn that doesn't talk. The microphone only technically picks her up and there's no middle ground for her
Should we call
whatsoever.
her Rage Bryn?
All right,
We
Map
were
and
trying-
Valerian.
We've
We're
been
gonna get
no,
it.
no,
tried-
no,
when
no,
we
no,
first
no, no.
started getting things
The
for our
first
setup, literally
thing.
the first thing I did was ask. It might even have been Dan at the time.
It
This
was.
might have been before the
This
Dan
was
swap.
Dan.
Was ask for a high resolution image of the Galarian map.
Because I
that
started
they
to make
revealed
one.
at PaizoCon, so that we could make a giant map to put on the wall, and we are still trying to get that. I don't know if that's a thing.
I
that's
started
going
to make one, and they were like, no, don't worry. We'll get you an image of it. Don't worry. And then you can just print it out on a poster. And I'm like, that would be amazing. And that was only like 6 months ago.
Didn't happen.
Don't worry, I got your back. It's gonna happen.
Well,
All right. Well, we can figure that out for later.
Okay.
We'll just have the wall of God behind me.
We're gonna make it happen. Don't even worry about it. I have money.
For right now.
All things are possible.
For right now.
Cures AIDS, don't you know?
We
Just injecting pure liquid money.
are going to set a little bit of a scene here. Obviously, all 5 of you have brought your bright-faced level 1 characters along to come do level 1 character things. But for the rest of you, there's not a whole lot really tying this group together.
I wanna get laid.
Well, okay, but that's like a base human instinct. I mean, beyond that, there's not a whole lot really tying this group together. A few weeks ago, you had joined on with a caravan. With a dwarven man named Bort, a trader from the 5 Kings Mountains.
Welcome,
This caravan is
Squidling,
leaving
to the
the
Squiddy
capital
Pool.
Beaster, one of the last remaining
Oh,
Shelish
hey, look
colonies
what
in the
time
north,
it is.
and heading down on a long and admittedly kind of uncomfortable journey to Almus, the capital city of Anderon. Now, you're all here for your own personal assorted reasons, but Bort's a pretty kind soul, and he has allowed you to tag along for merely a handful of copper pieces, with the agreement that if you do run into any trouble on the roads, always possible in some of the wilds we're passing through, some of the hinterlands of Yzgar are very sparsely populated, and both bandits and local wildlife are an amount of a concern, that you would lend arms to defend,
Or legs.
or legs,
Or instruments.
or instruments, or cleric magic, or arms to people who are normal and just use weapons. Let me go ahead and what I should have done was reversed Brian. That's what I should have done. I should have had you see him and not hear him. I'll get him on for next stream. You're right. In the middle of setting things up, it's a little annoying. But as you broke camp this morning to continue on your way through the sparsely populated forests of southern Yzgar, nearly to the border, Bort had told you that we would be taking your first rest stop by this evening. You'd be arriving in a small hamlet called Etrin's Folly, and you would finally get to rest in warm beds and with some warm food.
Yay.
Hooray!
I definitely want a warm bed.
At this announcement, most of the rest of the caravan's workers kind of chuckled a little bit with about that same level of mixed sarcasm and enthusiasm.
Preferably not mine.
They didn't seem terribly sold, really. So, while our caravan continues underway, this is a perfect opportunity to go around the table and introduce who we are, and as much of what led you here as you feel like you want to share. Let us begin with you.
My name is Filippo Broadshield. I am a proud member of the Dwarf Clan, and I am here to
The
make
dwarf
my
clan.
name
The clan.
the clan. You guys,
It's like
you
one
don't need to know.
family.
We're on a need-to-know basis, and you
Okay.
don't need to know.
Fair.
My family would prefer I don't spread their name around. I don't have a great reputation. But I'm a musician, a poet, and a fighter. Mostly a poet, though. Please don't ask me to fight unless I have to.
Even then, please don't.
Staring at me, as you always do. I've tried to discourage you over the years, but it just seems to get worse.
just
You
You have a really pretty nose.
I feel like we should go here next. I'm feeling a bit of a connection. Perhaps.
Sweet little sister. Stay on that side of the tent for the moment.
I'm Adelpha, and Flamehair, obviously from the Flamehair clan, and we're from the same city, and I'm here as some healing to try and help everybody and lead everybody down the right path. And I'm here. I'm partially here to keep watch over someone very important to me, and I think this will really be just a magical journey for both of us.
I don't know how I'm gonna keep you alive. I give it even odds. But I love you, so I'm gonna try.
Oh, okay. That's a bit aggressive right now, but okay.
So, let's go to new guy then.
Alrighty. I'm Elrith Kiar. I just am an elf that was hired by the caravan owner to go help him along the way in his travels. I'm also a diplomat. I am trying to ease tensions between the elves and the dwarves.
So, I mean, dwarves, joining what appears to be an entirely dwarven caravan is a
Yes.
pretty reasonable place to end up then.
Mm-hmm. And as such, I'm there to try to keep the peace. I will do some negotiations to try to keep us out of trouble. But if things turn into aggressive negotiations, there's no penalty for stabbing somebody in the back.
Is there not? I feel like generally in diplomacy there's actually a pretty huge penalty for stabbing someone in the
No,
back.
it's rogue diplomacy.
I just think it happens more
I'm not-
often than people think.
I'm not the diplomat, so I'm
It's-
definitely not going to tell you how to do your job.
It's stiletto diplomacy. It's okay.
Fair enough.
The
What about-
dagger, not the shoe.
No, the entire rest of the party is not just dwarves and elves, and in fact, with Derp here, we have something entirely different.
Rolgish Boghosh. Half-orc native of Cheliax, looking to get the fuck out of here.
I'm not attracted to you.
Not at all.
Just want to make that really clear.
Reasons unknown, unnecessary, doesn't matter. Just leaving. Anderon generally seems better than apparently where you were born and
Recent
raised.
events have not been kind to half-orcs.
Yeah, being half-orc in Cheliax is probably not a fantastic time, I'd imagine. And that leaves us last but not least with Marn, I believe.
I'm Marn, the only human of the group.
What a strange twist for our previous huge pile of humans. This is very different from what I'm accustomed to.
Very different indeed.
This is also not Taldor, so...
It's also that. It's also not much of Lastwall, which doesn't really exist anymore. Came from Lastwall. I found some arms and armor to keep me safe as I left. Might look like a bit of a knight. I certainly don't feel like much of a knight right now, seeing as how most of my time in Lastwall was spent hurriedly leaving it as the entire country collapsed around my ears. But I'm here now, I made it out, and we'll see where fate brings me.
It was really beautiful. I just thought about you.
Thank you.
Isn't he so kind?
Yes, we have. I have very nice companions, I suppose.
So...
Seems to be very clean for a human too.
Don't
Or-
understand these other races.
For your assorted reasons between your homeland sucking, not wanting you so much, or straight up not existing anymore, you have all found yourselves on a journey to a new land. And the stories of Anderon and its people, its freedom, is enticing to, well, anyone who has ended up in Iskir for literally any reason. So there's certainly many who want to come along on these journeys. Now, this road you've chosen to take here is quite long. This caravan's twisting around the mountains, trying to stay out of the limelight, really. It's certainly not the fastest way to get you down to the border, but it is generally going to be the safest. Now, as we begin our adventure here, the five of you up, you've had days to become accustomed to each other, and several of the other members of the caravan traveling with you. You I'm gonna remember this elf name eventually, Elrith. Elrith, give me the hardest name in the world to try to learn immediately. You, Elrith, have actually been hired by them, so you would be fairly familiar with a lot of your traveling companions. Other than Bort, you've got a very, very old, even by elven standards, cook, who probably has a proper name, like Elrith, but he only wants to be referred to as Cookie. That's all he's given you guys. Another half-orc woman named Tamley Grent, who's kind of Bort's right hand, the chief of the Teamsters, who mainly keeps things running. A pair of Ulfin men named Ulf and Ulf, who, well, I guess how much you really like them is going to depend on how well you deal with their particular brand of interaction. They're a friendly sort, to be certain, but perhaps a little too aggressively friendly. And they're really big fans of, let's say, jokes. Let's go ahead and call them jokes.
I have written them both haikus.
You've probably written most people haikus.
Yeah, but them especially.
Last but not least, you have a gnome, Glenda Grapeleaf, who has a bright mix of green and purple hair, as many gnomes do, who doesn't talk much. You don't really know a whole lot about her, how she came to be part of this caravan. But as you're traveling along through the woods, early on in the afternoon...
Not to interrupt you, what does Glenda do? Fuck all, just kind of
She's a member of Bort's caravan. She's around.
It's unknown.
She's one of the Teamsters, just like Ulf and Ulf. But
I might have an idea.
they don't... She doesn't have any real specific job
Okay, but
other
she's a
than odds
Teamster,
and
she's,
ends.
like, handling
Yeah, she's a Teamster. She helps around. She tends to the horses, pulling the wagons mostly, trying to make sure they're in good shape and tended to. And often when you set camp, she uses a bit of the magic that she has to make things somewhat more comfortable. But as to the specifics of what she does, kind of unclear. She's very small and not very physically strong, so she's not nearly as capable as Ulf and Ulf at actually lifting and moving things around, loading or unloading cargo, and you're pretty sure she would be absolutely as helpless as a child wielding a sword if something were to happen.
Interesting choice of career she's made.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
it's okay. I could always gather information and find out really quickly.
so it's an interesting choice of career he has made as well. It's not true. But you travel along up here this particular morning to another one of Bort's many tales, and he seems to have nearly an infinite supply of them. And even after the few days you've been on the road, you've heard at least a half dozen. But this time he's rambling on about the time he, well, as far as you can tell, died. But I tell you, just a shipment across Lake and Cawthon, same as we always have, and a mighty storm right out of nowhere rolls the ship over, puts the whole crew in the water. And of course, my first instinct was to try and save what I could. I gathered my box, my little keepsakes from my cabin, but myself and the crew were apparently unable to escape. I ended up waking up in front of the Grey Lady herself, Pharasma, the goddess to be judged. But as she stood there amidst those blowing waters and the wild winds of that storm, she couldn't quite get her composure yet together to judge me proper, what with her hair blowing all around in her face. So, gentleman I am, pulled out the box I'd gone for and offered the lady a silvered comb, and she was so impressed by my modicum, my gratitude, my chivalry, that I would put her needs before my own, even upon her own doorstep in the boneyard, that she sent me and the whole crew back. We awoke on the shores. I had to settle the books, of course. The cargo was unrecoverable after that, but most divine experience I've had, to be certain. What was it you were saying about your god? You were a cleric of who, again, Adelpha?
You know, Hilda, the teacher at the missionary, said that's way different than what she said was going to happen after we died.
No, I imagine everyone's experiences are different. It's a personal thing. So the men of the cloth
That's
told me.
amazing. Have you ever told anyone about this?
Phrasmans didn't believe it either, but I swear it to be true on my life. And may she take me if I'm lying.
Stories are
Wow.
always interesting.
Isn't that incredible that he could do that?
I'm fairly certain that you might be a legend.
It was nothing much. It was the first reaction. You see a lady in need, and I've been raised to treat him right and offer out help how I can.
Your chivalry is an example that I will take to heart.
I appreciate it, Marn. Now, how about you? I haven't heard a whole lot of what's brought you up to this caravan. And around that moment, Tamley, the half-orc, approaches. And she walks up, kind of a grimace on her face, looking at the group of you just walking alongside Bort as he's driving the horses at the head of the caravan.
I think she's making eyes at you.
Which half?
What are you lot doing? There's work needing done. Ulf needs help in the back with Cookie prepping something.
I'm writing an epic poem about Bort the Great.
And I'm sure you can do that without distracting the driver. Oh, come on.
I'll take the out. Let's go.
So the group of you head to the back of the caravan where Ulf is nowhere to be seen. And Ulf, outside, standing up, his long, blonde hair, truly a monumental man, nearly 7 feet tall.
Jeez.
Just walking, or sitting on the side, the riding of the back of the 4 wagons. He just kind of grins at the group of you. Aye. Tamley got on your ass, did she?
Seems to be what she's here for.
Not literally.
I tell you, it's...
To be expected.
You'll get used to it soon enough, lad. Don't know right why they hired more help, but it seems to be her whole business is telling people around doing things she could certainly handle herself.
Apparently she got bored of bossing people around who were just here and wanted more people. Maybe she's looking for a variety.
That's how you'd head in the back.
I don't know. I just think she had eyes. But that's just a guess.
You elves and your metaphor, whatever it be.
Is there a song that needs playing? A ditch needed digging? A horse
Or-
needing haying?
Or a brother of yours needing help?
Ulf's got it under control. Cookie's old and half deaf, but I'm sure he can handle a pot of stew.
Ulf is cooking the stew himself?
He puts his ear up against the caravan and kind of listens. Handling something of the sort, I imagine. I wouldn't worry about it. You interested in a game of cards?
I'm always interested in a game of cards.
Why not?
I've had terrible luck recently. I'll go check on the stew.
I will always play cards.
Are you sure cards won't play you?
Well, it's always a diplomat's role to follow customs
Always
from
on
different
with
areas.
that. What? I can't say I truly understand what's brought you into the caravan. A diplomat seems the hoity-toity sort, and the town senate halls, working with the politics and the writing bills and sharing the coin. Attacks off the people. What puts you in a caravan?
Well, a part of a diplomat's job is also to ensure trade between nations. Make sure that everyone has a chance to barter their goods, for the betterment of their areas. The dwarves, while they mine underneath the mountains for most of
Takes
their
himself pretty
lives,
seriously, doesn't he?
He's here to skim 5% off the top.
they also require wood. So
That's
what we're
largely
for.
been my experience.
I mean, let's be honest.
Still a surprisingly helpful hand for an elf.
He has 2.
Haven't really met many that could use either, honestly.
Fair enough.
But, anyway, and he reaches back into a little pouch he just has sitting on the rider and pulls out an old, wrinkled deck of cards and starts stuffing them together. And then reaches into his own coin purse and pulls out a couple silvers. We gonna play, or you got excuses to tend to?
No, we're playing.
My excuse is I have terrible luck. I'm going to go check on the stew.
It's okay, I have a couple silver.
The teachers at the monastery told me never to get involved with cards or anything to do with
I say
betting money or
monastery, lass,
anything.
this is the road. What else we got?
You stay with me and give me good luck.
Okay. Do you want me to kiss?
I'm in.
Back? No, I don't. No, never mind. I think that's too far.
And so everyone but Marn is going to stay here, and he starts shuffling through a deck and just dealing hands out, physically having to hand cards that a lot of you, as you either pull up seats next to him or just play and walk next to the caravan as it drives. Not a ton of sitting room on the rider outside. Marn heads in, and as soon as you pull open the back of the wagon, you can immediately hear Cookie's voice before you've barely even got the door open. I haven't seen. Hold back on that, lad. You've gone crazy with the thing. And he's an incredibly loud elf, and you know from interacting with him over the past few days, he's pretty deaf as well. So he, well, it is what it is.
Oh boy, let me see if I
bugger
can save
slipped
our
on the rat
dinner.
again.
Ulfin here seems incredibly amused by the assistance he's trying to bring. Now, this back wagon is largely the mobile kitchen here. It is just a cluttered rack of sacks, barrels, racks of small metal tins of spices on shelves, tied loosely with rope to the back so they won't fall all over everything, and a fairly large pot of something boiling, bubbling, and stewing on a little burner in the back. The back hatch on the top of the cabin open to let the smoke out into the air. And Ulf turns to you and smiles and says, "Ah! Well, finally! I see you sent lads to help! Marn, get in here!"
Yeah, let's see what we can salvage. What's Cookie been up to?
And Cookie turns to look at you. What?
Just talking to him.
Oh! Ulf! And he finds this hilarious and turns back. Me! And he motions you over, brings you a little closer, and kind of whispers to you. Pretty sure he's got this largely under control, mostly just having a good bit of fun. At the old man's expense.
I can understand it, but so long as our dinner doesn't become a casualty of your jokes again.
Oh, it'll probably be fine, don't worry.
It's all the same. I think I'll peel some carrots just to keep an eye on the whole progress.
And as you're
Also,
talking,
it keeps Tamley off my back.
That it does, lad. That's what's brought me back here, at least. I only got a best attempt halfway through a hand outside before she's come to rattle us off like there's something needs doing this deep in the middle of nowhere. And Cookie turns, "I what? Not you, old man. I'm grabbing this. Don't worry, I've got this." And he grabs another tin out. "This one, the red one?" And Cookie turns and looks at that. "Did you get the red one?"
I basically just start going there and just doing make work.
So you, as you're all tending to your various tasks, either for attempting to be helpful or the opposite, the days passed much as it has every other. This far into the hinterlands, not much happens, and you're looking forward to whatever Etrin's Folly is that you're coming up on here. It's the kind of road where you don't even get a bed to rest in, and with these wagons, you mostly take turns sleeping literally on the cargo racks on the top during the day for naps, high enough that Tamley can't really see up. She's a bit short for a half-orc, and just trying to make do with a bedroll on the ground as you break for camp at night. But later in the afternoon, there is one thing that pierces this kind of tedium, this boredom, as you slowly make your way out of Isker. You occasionally hear, of course, the wildlife from the forests around you moving about. And you hear the howl of a wolf in the distance, off to the right hand, to the south, as you're moving through. This kind of gets everyone's attention as you're around later in the afternoon, around the back of the wagon, helping to move things around as Cookie needs it, but mostly just waiting and passing time as you always do.
Well, if there's the sound of wolves, it might be a good idea to keep my gear fairly close by. Normally, he probably wouldn't be carrying his whole kit with him.
Wouldn't be comfortable to ride there, I'm sure.
He basically never takes his sword off, but everything else, like, it just depends on how convenient it is. But he'll start keeping his gear close in case he sounds like there might be trouble.
And somehow, as if summoned to your response here, Glenda, the the bright-haired gnome, comes around out of, you're not even positive where. You swear she scuttled out from underneath one of the wagons, shooing you down with her hands. "It's now forest! We're trespassing here, but that's a howl of communication. They use it to talk with each other. It's not a threatening sort.
Well, what are they talking about?
Oh, I don't speak their language. I just try to understand. If there was a threat, though, they're usually very clear. We know.
It sounds romantic. Perhaps they are wooing one another.
Right, or perhaps they're talking about this band of tasty
At that, you would hear
bipeds.
another howl a lot closer, and her eyes get a bit wider. Grab the gear! That one's threatening!
Great.
I was gonna say, maybe we need to roll knowledge nature.
And in
Grab my
mere
sword out.
moments afterward, just with enough time for you to
My bolt's
grab
ready, by the way.
whatever kit you would need, load a bow, perhaps draw steel. Emerging from the tree line are a trio of very mangy-looking, incredibly aggressive wolves,
That
darting as one towards the caravan. Now, we are going to test a thing here, as I attempt to put the map on the screen in front of you and also on the stream. So give me a moment to do a bit of sorting here. So we're going to go to yonder. We're going to pull to here.
Over yonder.
And we're going to give vision. Now the question is, oh, I know what I still haven't done. This is the fiddling of trying to do all of this. It is a very different setup
Global
from what I had before. Well, global illumination, and also the fact that there aren't actually other people's characters. So
There's only one character.
it's all it's largely all a pile of a single character. So if
Don't really need dynamic lighting either.
You have to put a point of view on the map.
Don't want.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the point of view. I'm trying to figure out it should be on, but Roll20 always eludes me in the ways that it seems to function. And why this cannot see anything, I am somewhat unclear.
Global
So-
illumination.
Go ahead. That's on. That's on. What are you guys? What are your preparations as these wolves attack?
Oh, I already have a bolt ready to my crossbow.
I've dealt with wolves before. I've got my long spear ready, taking up a position
There we go.
with my back against one of the caravan.
I'll pull my rapier out of my scabbard and make sure that I have a pocket full of bolts on me in case I need to load things like these bad puppies.
I was going to shuffle around behind whatever side of the caravan is not near the wolves.
I would do the exact opposite. Be standing back to the caravan facing them.
Marnell,
Is
right?
there a stone close to me?
A stone? Well,
Yes.
you're traveling down a dirt cobbled path through the woods. There are many stones near you.
Oh, okay. While I'm holding my crossbow, I'll pick a stone.
You can certainly do that.
So I can use that as a distraction later.
Marnell stands shoulder to shoulder with Rui and with Filippo on the line, and just Hefta halberd, just ready to facing them.
So you're going to be more like this alignment here. Now, what I have for the tokens on the screen, I just have the iconics representing the classes that you're playing because I
Okay.
don't have a specific art for the 5 of you. So go ahead and place your tokens on the map here because we have got some pretty sick hybrid action going on. I don't have to sacrifice things like line of sight and all other cool Roll20 features because we can do both, which is pretty neat and exciting.
Pretty nifty.
And then as these wolves break the tree line, you're going to see 2 of them emerge from the road behind where you had just passed, and 1 around on the other side, near to Adelpha and El Reef. And go ahead and put, I had to move it a bit. Go ahead and put these 3 on those little doggos there. And we'll get this all sorted. And we're going to roll initiative. Now, second edition, you do not have an initiative stat anywhere on your thing. You were all at the ready, watching after this howl, waiting to see where these wolves are approaching from. So initiative is just going to be a perception roll.
For sure.
Can I use hunting
right.
lore?
No.
Where's
Because
that?
there is no reason that hunting lore would make you react faster to wolves appearing.
16.
Alright, so let me go around
Yeah, I
here.
imagine you're gonna want us to wait.
Mm-hmm.
And let me add the one more of these. Let me add this new Adelpha here. Okay, so Adelpha.
18.
18. Marn.
Marn's 26.
Ooh, pretty good. Elrith.
10.
Filippo.
16.
And Rogish.
11.
And let me get some doggo initiative here. That's the one thing I do have to pull up the phone for. I'm trying to commit literally as much of this to memory as physically possible. But I do need the stats.
Stop whining.
It's going to be a 23,
Bad dog.
I ain't screwed.
a 19, and a 22.
Oh, looks like I'm going last.
They are pretty fast.
They're peppy puppies.
They're pretty fast, but of the 5 of you, Marn is at least experienced in combat to some extent, so understandably, he is the first to react.
Okay.
So I know we all have a vague understanding of how 2nd edition works, but just to cover it real quickly, every turn you get 3 actions. Doing most things that we would want to do are just going to take 1 action. And there's no distinction between move actions, standard actions, swift actions, all that's gone. So if you want to move up to your speed, that's a 1 action stride. If you want to swing a weapon, that's a 1 action attack. There's no limits on in what order you can do these things, and there's no limits on exactly what is really or anything really. It's a tabletop game. You just tell me what the hell you want to do, and we'll figure out a roll for it.
Boom.
So, Marn.
So,
you go first, and that will have then all 3 wolves, and then Adelpha, you're on deck.
Brilliant.
So Marn's training is going to take over. He's going to want to hold fast on the formation. So what he's going to do is now. Here's a question for you: delaying. Mine. It's like the 1 action I didn't write down. It's the first one I wanted to use.
If you want to just delay and wait,
Well,
you
I'd
can
like to-
change your initiative.
I would like to close the line though, so I'm thinking of walking up. But does it take 2 actions to delay or 1 action to delay?
Delaying to just change your initiative is free. If you want to ready, like if you have your halberd to swing at a dog if it gets close enough to you,
Yeah.
that's 2 actions to ready to do 1 action.
Okay.
So yeah, you can step forward 5 feet with 1 action, move the line a bit, and then ready your halberd with your last 2 actions for when one of these wolves closes in with you.
I like it. I'm gonna go do that. And
And-
what action can I ready?
Anything that takes 1 action.
That takes 1 action.
So if you have, you're a fighter and you have a bunch of special cool fighter things you
I
can
have
do.
some special cool fighter.
Well, it's level 1 fighter. You have some special cool fighter
They're
things.
mildly okay.
They're mildly okay.
Any 1 action cool fighter things
Mhm.
you can ready, and it will happen as soon as the conditions are met. So.
Perfect. So I'll just ready an exacting strike,
All right, sounds good.
which is like a normal strike because.
And with his training, with his experience, Marn is the only one who is able to react before the hounds are upon you. And from the tree line, this first hound rushes down straight into your waiting halberd.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're going to do a combination of I watch where you move your minis and move the tokens accordingly, and I will move the tokens of enemies, and then just somebody put the thing over to
We will
where
help.
the enemy actually ended up.
I love it.
And we'll just kind of, we'll teamwork this. This is part of the learning experience.
So a couple of things are going to happen right now. First, the ready to action is going to go off to hit him, and then if he's still up, it'll trigger my attack of opportunity as well. So we'll see.
I believe, I'm not sure if attack of opportunity triggers if they move up to you.
I have a range of 10 with my halberd.
Oh, then it absolutely will trigger an attack of opportunity. So go ahead and give me 2 swings on this approaching wolf.
So here's the ready to exacting strike, which is going to be a 22.
A 22 is absolutely going to hit.
Boom. That's shit for damage. Okay, well that was 5.
So as the wolf rushes forward through the mud, you have a very long stick, and you're ready for this. And this is exactly what halberds are for, staying a charge.
Boom.
You slash through this wolf once, and as it lunges up, closing the distance, you take a second strike with your attack of opportunity reaction.
Boom. Oh, 20. 29.
29 will crit the wolf as it closes in, and attack of opportunity does not take any kind of multiple attack penalty, right? So you get the full full deal.
Full Monty.
Now, remind me for critical, are we doubling dice or rolling once and then doubling?
With a critical hit, I think it's more fun to roll the dice twice.
Yeah,
but
I
I mean,
agree.
mechanically, statistically, I don't think it super matters. So what do you guys want to do?
Technically, it does.
Technically, as written, you roll it
And
and
then
double it.
Then let's
Okay,
just do
I'm
that.
fine
So
with
we'll
that.
do it. We'll do it as written.
Max damage.
Okay,
Max
so that's 14 times 2, 28 damage.
So you will absolutely just cleave this wolf as it closes. Your training kicks over, and it has certainly served
just
you
got
well.
so much more attractive to me.
Covered in wolf blood, cleaving this thing in half.
Now the second of the wolves here breaks from the tree line, rushing in towards Rolgish. And as it charges up the road the caravan had just carved behind you, this wolf lashes out as you turn before you can react, and does an 18 hit you.
Yes.
Then he is going to snap his jaws around your leg. You'll have a ton of dice rolling room, dealing 4 damage. And additionally, I'm going to need you to make a fortitude save.
Alright. 18.
So as this wolf bites, they don't just look mangy and wild. They look beyond feral. Something is clearly wrong with them. And that's even obvious to your untrained eyes. This wolf, as it bites, is so covered in mangy fleas that a near horde of them spread to you just from the time the wolf is near you. It's incredibly distracting, but you are a fairly well-trained monk and you're able to maintain your composure. But now in range, the wolf will attempt once more to bite, and does a 16 hit you?
No.
After the first one, you are not going to let it grab again. You want none of this nasty wolf. And finally, a third breaks from the other side of the tree line, moving forward to El Reef here, just in range for its snapping attack. And I'm going to imagine a 10 probably doesn't connect.
No.
Well, it is going to try again then. Only do a little better with a 12.
No.
In this one, you almost have the proximity of the wagon and the fact that it's getting out of the trees and the undergrowth protecting you. It doesn't have great footing to ready its attack, and as it snaps out and lunges towards you, you use your rapier to keep it at bay and ready your own counter. Now, with the wolves having finished their actions, they'll bring us to Adelpha, and Filippo, you are on deck.
Okay, so as this first wolf kind of comes out of the forest and Marn just cleaves it in half and blood is everywhere, I actually just kind of freeze, and it's one of the first times I've ever seen any blood ever, besides like in a
He just
healing.
straight up
Oh,
slew
yeah,
that
that's
wolf.
a
That wolf running, he
So-
cut that thing near in half with his halberd.
So I just stand there and just wait, because I'm just so, my mind just can't.
Shocked.
It's
You were
total shock.
This is not your area of expertise at all. Filippo, Rolgish on deck.
Desna, protect my colleagues and inspire them with great courage to face down these foul beasts. I'll put off Inspire Courage. Everyone gets a +1 status bonus to attack rolls, damage rolls, and saves against any fear effects. And he'll pick up one of his bolts and he'll send it flinging at the wolf that's closest to him.
Not with any kind of a crossbow or anything, just
No.
with his own
Yeah,
bardic
with telekinetic
magic.
projectile.
All
Yeah.
right. And the one closest to you is going to be the one in front of Rolgish right
Yes.
now.
Mhm.
So then make me that attack roll.
That's gonna be a 14.
A 14. The bolt will sail by just barely winging the wolf enough to lodge itself in it, but just almost on a tangent. It's painful, but not mortally dangerous to the wolf. And is that it for you?
It is.
Then that will bring us to Rogish with Elreath on deck. And whenever you want to step back into Delphi, just let me know.
Just disgusted at these, no other word to describe it, mangy beasts. I'm going to pull my foot out of the mouth, this disgusting thing,
Gross.
and then immediately kick back up into it, yelling, "You absolute beast!"
That is accurate. It is an absolute beast.
20.
20 will hit.
And then I guess again, because
So we'll give me the damage, and then because even if you're gonna flurry, they're still independent attacks. So
fair.
give me the damage on that first.
+1.
Plus one.
One,
from
so
the inspire.
21, not a crit, I'd imagine.
No.
+1 would be 10.
And with 10 damage, a decisive strike lays this wolf low immediately as you connect much
I
harder
broke its jaw
than it
completely.
did with you. Yeah, it bit into you and you just broke its skull in. That is a large half-orc heal there. So that is only the first of your actions.
Well, I suppose I will 5-foot step over, and this will be the flurry, going into the other wolf.
Yeah, I'm unclear on mechanically how that works, because...
I suppose I could 5-foot as part of the flurry.
Well, no, it's all separate actions now. Your first action was a flurry of blows, and
It died.
you readied and you lashed these 2 kicks into the wolf and it fell. And then you step over and you have one more strike with that because you have flurried. It's a flourish.
Okay,
You can only
so-
do it once. The first strike.
The first one,
Took the wolf
kick
down.
up, kick down, broke its head, broke its jaw. 5-foot step over, bringing the foot around, trying to break this one's spine.
Aim high, strike true, my friend.
That's a 10, so 17.
17 will hit.
Alright, and we are going to hit this one for minimum damage.
You have plus 12 on your attacks. Did you take the
No, that
minus
was a
5?
10.
Sure, he rolled a 10
Oh.
and then
okay.
added something to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You rolled
So
a
that's
10.
the-
Oh, so
you
you're
got
minus.
7.
That'd be
Wait,
a-
after the minus 5?
No, that'd be a 12.
Well, I was like, that. I
No,
don't
no,
know how
that'd
you
be-
got plus. That'll be a 13 because plus 1 from her. I was like, I don't know how the hell you have plus
No,
12 to
I
hit
for-
her.
I forgot
no.
the,
Yeah, and it would actually be a minus 10 because you do take both flurry strikes.
Okay, minus 10.
So yeah, definitely.
So
yeah,
you roll a
that-
6 to hit.
That second one definitely
Seven. I rolled a 7 to hit.
does not connect.
You have like a little tag up here when you put up your inspiration, so we all know that we get +1.
That would be a good idea.
That would be
Yeah.
a really
That's
good
a good
idea.
idea.
Exactly the kind of stuff we're trying to sort out with this first little fall of Plaguestone before we go hard into Age of Ashes is things like that. That's a great idea. Have an inspiration and stuff like little literal banners
love
for the
that.
flag
Yeah.
for party
Oh, a little
buffs. along
banner.
the
That's a good
line.
one. Put a little banner
But
Yeah,
on
we
the
put
frame.
little
I actually,
banners
I
there.
can print one out.
That'd be
real-
awesome. That'd
yeah.
be super awesome.
Nice.
That's a great idea.
Until then, I'm gonna throw up the white die of courage.
Okay.
Alrighty.
That gives us
so,
+1, so that's good.
so this wolf and this wolf have
Next
already
time,
fallen.
hit truer. That
and-
kind of sucked.
You deleted a wolf. You blew one of them away immediately. Elreath.
Alrighty.
This wolf is right in front of you.
It's right in front of me. You know, I'm holding a stone and a crossbow. I'm just gonna go throw my crossbow and just to distract it.
Okay. You
So
just-
You're
I'm gonna
throwing
go
your
use a deception.
okay. You throw a crossbow.
I would be totally caught off guard. I'd be totally
I
caught off guard.
I would be too.
He's gonna shoot his stone like a crossbow and throw his crossbow like a rock, and it's gonna be
Yes.
awesome.
I
So-
don't understand these Elven war tactics.
That's a deception against their perception DC? Do you know what DC the feint is against?
It's gonna be like -20 because no one would expect this.
I didn't
It
expect
just
that.
succeeds.
Deception, yes, deception
It's not
against
gonna
the
do
wolf.
any damage, but
Against
it
the
just
wolf's
succeeds.
perception DC,
Okay.
so make me a deception check.
19.
The 19, the wolf is absolutely distracted. The crossbow sails over its head.
Okay.
It didn't successfully bite you. It's still kind of caught in the
Yes.
undergrowth. It turns to look as it hears this land behind it, facing
Yes.
entirely away, and it is now flat-footed to you.
Yes. So now I have to draw my rapier.
Yes?
Then I'll stab it.
And with one final action, you drive it home. Give me that attack roll.
Oh, great. Of course. That's not my foot.
What is it?
It's a 1.
Oh, natural! You were also distracted!
That worked?
Well, you throw the crossbow and it goes into the underbrush. You totally lose sight of it, and you're like, "Did I just lose it?"
You don't want to lose this crossbow. Like, oh no, I need that crap.
Yeah, pretty much.
So as we come back around
Do the wrong thing.
to Marn here, side by side with Rolgeesh, as they have brought the first two hounds low very quickly, you hear another howl roll through the trees. This one much louder and almost sickly. And as it howls, the one remaining wolf here, distracted by the crossbow, throws its head back and joins in. Now, you have +1 to against fear saves. I'm going to assume that also applies to will DCs against fear.
Correct. If it's an auditory effect, I can also use counter performance to make a performance check and use the better of those two
This is
checks.
absolutely an auditory effect as
Okay.
this terrifying howl rips through from something else in the forest, joined by the one remaining wolf.
Then I'm going to use counter performance
All
to
right.
try to use it for the whole party.
So it's a.
You're howling
It
back.
is not a save. It is just, but that
Doesn't
lets you
matter,
do your
that
thing.
just lets
Okay,
me
it's
do
a
my thing.
reaction. All right. So
That is going to be a 25.
and they can all use that, and that will absolutely, as this howl rips through, and you see your team start to falter a bit. She alters her performance. A new haiku, and you're all bolstered.
Actually, it's puppets.
Puppets,
Hand
distracting puppets.
I have hand puppets for this type of situation. It
Yeah,
says
we can
you
use
and your allies, and
Check.
anyone in
saving
the
throw.
area who
That's
can
pretty
hear
sweet.
me.
So we all get a 26 on a save. That's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yes, and so you are all perfectly safe and steadfast against this terrifying howl, but a fourth wolf emerges from the tree line. This one, wrong.
I'm gonna
It's-
kind of repurpose.
Oh,
my
I have a new
token.
one for you, actually. I have a
Oh.
different kind of token.
I was kind of hoping it
Sorry.
would be
So
flying token.
this one is
Very terrifying.
a good deal larger than the rest of the wolves, and while they all look mangy and near rabid, this one is clearly beyond sickly, a frothing, noxious bile dribbling from its mouth, still hanging open as it rips forth towards the party. You can smell
That's super
this
rabies.
wolf before you can see it. It is at least super rabies. And I,
Filippo gives
At least super, and it's coming for you.
Filippo gives
more
out a
initiative.
Wilhelm scream.
and it is going to get a 22 as it joins into the battle. So Marn, you see this. With your trained reflexes, you do react as this wolf breaks the tree line. What do you do?
Well, I can't let Filippo's fine outfit get completely, like, covered in gore
not
and
gonna be good.
pus and whatever else this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and trust my companions on the left side of the wagon to handle things. So I'm going to step over next to Filippo, and I'll say, "Courage, friend, we have it." And as he steps over, he's going to use the momentum to actually just two-hand the halberd over his head and just bring it smashing down at as far away as he possibly can be from this stupid thing.
Trying to remain at a relatively safe distance, but smashing as hard as you can. Go ahead and roll that attack.
All right, power attack. That holds almost. All right, that's only a 14.
Did you
With
get my +1?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a 15.
With a 15, this wolf moves with surprising dexterity, nimbly dodging this blow as it comes down, skirting around the falling blade of your halberd as it closes in.
Huh. All right.
And close in it does, but
Can I move back in action?
yes, absolutely. We'll put Adelpha right back in here, and
Okay.
you can go right ahead.
So, yeah, this would have cover from me.
It
with
would
these.
have a basic cover from the edge of the tree line there. Yes,
Oh, okay.
it's lesser cover at best.
Okay. Well, I peek around. I hear the second howl, and I peek around the corner, and I see that Filippo is in danger. And this thing looks clearly dangerous, and it looks clearly evil. which I do not approve of at all. So
I damn you, evil sick dog!
Which is a very bad thing.
it's a very bad
We will now
thing.
enjoy battle.
And so I am going to, because it looks evil, I'm going to really call upon my goodness for saving Filippo, and I'm going to shoot a divine lance at it,
All right, make an attack roll.
which is a 11.
And with an 11, you are. This is magic you know that you've learned.
I'm
But
still
clearly,
shocked.
you're really not good at this fighting thing. And
Yes.
you cast this divine lance. At the last moment, worried for your allies, bolt it far over their head up into the trees. And you would see this spear of holy energy pass over your, well over your shoulder and into the distance.
Evil.
Isabella attempts to help.
Evil is clearly that way.
That's two
Exactly.
actions, so you have
Yeah.
one left.
So I'm going to step or try and move over in front of the wagon.
I'll let you step around behind the wagon, yeah.
Yeah, I can also just like dip under it and get there if I can't.
Old dwarf.
Yeah, and then that's
I'll
mine.
Say in Dwarven.
What was that? Probably the same thing you were
So-
asking me when I threw my
It was-
crossbow.
It was a warning shot.
That's the derpy side.
This is an unfortunate choice because as this wolf closes in, it's almost panting, its mouth hanging wide open. It surges forward, but with a heave, lets loose a bright green, burning stream of bile that jets right through Marn, Adelpha, and even Elreath,
They
spraying
can
across
spit?
the walkway through the middle of the party.
Ugh.
And as this
Thank you,
green
Desna.
blasts over the party, I need a reflex save from the three of you that are affected.
Remember to add +1.
Oh, I didn't put it in here.
Ooh, I don't think you get +1 too. Oh,
Saves.
Is it also saves against
yeah.
fear or saves?
No, well, inspired coverage, attack damage rolls, and saves against fear.
That's
rolls.
what I thought. I was
sorry.
like, that's got way buffed if it saves too. All right, okay.
I have 24.
I have
So you
an
got
18.
A 24 you succeed, an 18 you succeed.
15.
I'm still
15,
crawling under the.
You fail, unfortunately.
Well, I have my back turned toward it.
Yeah, you were not facing that direction at all. You just get hit in the back with this cold blast of acid, and that is going to do 9 damage to Elreath and 4 damage to each Marn and Adelpha. Acid damage.
Ooh.
Yeah,
But
that kind of hurts.
At least your crossbow is safely in the underbrush.
but still, the wolf continues forward past the blade of the halberd as it vomits this bile around to engage with you.
As it approaches, he reverses the halberd.
That is a
and
step,
catches
so
it with
it's
an
not
upstick.
going to.
Oh,
it's not
it's a
going to
step.
provoke an attack of opportunity.
Curses, he's intelligent.
Well, it's 5-foot movement. It's just generally a step.
yeah.
Not intelligent, but
Dogging your steps.
he's already
It's like, I didn't order a shower here.
busy avoiding the halberd and just moves in, but he is out of actions and can't attack you right now. So, who can attack is the third wolf on the far side here, who is certainly not intelligent, and having seen this half-orc foot sail just nearby, is going to attempt to snap in your direction. Does a 15 hit you? And he's not very smart, he's just going to keep trying. How about a 20?
That does.
That one, he will manage to connect, and you will take 2 piercing damage. And nearly in a frenzy, he's just going to try one more time, and with a total of a 6, definitely not land that third one. But they are starting to, they've done a decent amount now, landing 2 blows on Rolgeesh, and the stream of acid, of course, leaving the 3 of you not in the best condition.
I do have a question.
I have an answer, probably.
That acid shot, is it a ranged attack or a manipulate action?
It's a breath attack.
It is actually just, it doesn't have a type of action.
Ah, I see.
It just, it's a breath. It is a breath, yeah.
It's breath.
So
okay.
it's,
So if it's manipulate or ranged attack, my attack opportunity would still work. But
Yeah, manipulate
just
is
don't
anything
think
of
it-
trying like
manipulate
use
would
an
be
item or
somatic
reload or
components, I
like
guess.
somatic components.
But ranged attack
He
would
walks up
also
to you,
be like
tries
a
to
bow
take your
shot.
wallet.
Yeah, a natural breath isn't
Doesn't
going
qualify.
to trigger.
Just thought I'd ask.
He just kind of opened up his mouth and stuff happened.
And that's going to bring us to Filippo
Yeah, we
and
were not,
Rolgeesh. You're on deck.
We definitely were not expecting that.
No, nobody was expecting the acid
the
vomit.
acid vomit.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're tougher.
especially me. You know, I wasn't even looking at it.
Well, level 1 Pathfinder, you're tougher. Apparently, they find it's okay to throw breath attacks at you. So.
Well, the good news is, as he has been hit twice and all of you have been struck by a 9 and 4 damage acid spray, and everyone is still up.
Yeah, we're not dead.
Mostly
It's
okay.
amazing.
Everyone's
Yeah.
a lot hardier at first level and second edition.
I mean, when I took that much damage in the God's Mouth, you were dragging me behind a wall and like
We have,
applying pressure.
They have gone through great efforts to make sure that level 1 just flatly sucks way less than it did in first edition. You have a much better general time. You have options. You can do things. You don't go down the first time something catches you.
There's no reason someone getting nipped in the shin twice should take them down.
Exactly. Pretty good nips.
It's a wolf.
Yeah, well,
Well,
at
they're
least that wolf
mangy,
is
diseased
flat-footed
weak.
till the end of my next turn.
And I also
For
definitely
you.
have a thing on here if I can lean over and do general health tracking for our stream friends. Or no, you didn't do that much. You did save. It was El Reef who took 9. Honestly,
Yes.
how much have you taken total, Rolgeesh? You got hit for 2.
I'm at 14 out of 20.
You got hit for 2, and then the first one was 3.
4 for
Four
the first
for
one
the
and
first.
then 2 for the second.
Oh, is your health different than I have it on here? It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out later. All right.
Filippo is going to whisper something and go like this with his hands, and you'll see a magical shield appear before him and then dissipate. Then you'll see him steel himself, and once again draw a bolt up from his pouch and look in the eye of the wolf ahead of him and go, "You are so dirty," and toss a telekinetic projectile into his eye.
And you're like right next. You're in melee range.
I
and this
know.
thing would be like, "This is gross," and just magically fling a bolt into its skull.
Not touching it with anything I own.
That's gonna be a no. All right, give me a hit roll.
That's gonna be a 16.
With a 16, you fling the bolt down, but this wolf seems to be significantly hardier, and that just glances across, drawing some more oddly thick and foul-smelling blood from the beast. But again, nothing but superficial damage.
Please don't touch me.
And that'll bring us to Rolgeesh. Elrith on deck.
Alright, so we're gonna football kick this wolf in the ribs while I'm looking back, noticing that there's something much worse.
This is the strike, not your flurry.
Just a kick.
Okay.
I'm just kicking this one straight in the ribs.
Because that is apparently the one thing we do actually have to kind of distinguish for like play reasons.
14.
Did you get the Inspire Courage +1?
Yes.
Dang it. Alright, 14 is just not going to do it as you are looking back and distracted by this massive wolf behind you. This smaller one just barely manages to skirt around through the mud, through the tracks, the wagon's wheels have left underneath your foot.
Alright, it's becoming a pain in my ass. I'm going to stomp it. No. Nope. It moved out of the way of the stomp. That was a hard one.
You're very distracted by this huge wolf.
This is a very
This
big
is a
concern.
huge problem, and you just kind of want this one to go away. You're making trained kicks, but just sort of vaguely in its direction, not necessarily at the thing.
Alright, I'm really focused on this one. This is going to be a flurry. We are going to all out on the wolf.
So you're gonna be 2 attacks
Minus
at
10.
minus.
No, wait.
Minus 8 because they're back swings.
That's an 11.
So it's 17 and then minus 8 is a 9.
Back swings actually is +1, so it's a -9 total.
Okay,
So you rolled a 2 plus 7.
Yeah, so that's gonna miss.
Okay, yeah, there's no way a 2 on the die is gonna hit.
And that's
it.
definitely not
Yeah,
gonna
2
do
on the die.
Okay, yep, that's
Want to use that one?
No, I
So
like
with this
one.
whole flurry, this series of kicks and stomps down towards this wolf, you don't manage to do anything other than maybe lightly batter it as it continues
It's
to bite.
dirtier now.
And I'm the one that's doused in acid.
Well, doused in acid, you are up now, and you are certainly the one who has suffered the most in this battle so far. You were not prepared for that spray of acid, and that.
I'm totally calling
It's
you
okay.
doused in acid. That's like your new
Yes.
Indian name.
Pretty much.
Well, how do you
No.
react, Elreath?
Well, that kind of hurt. But I'm still holding on to my rapier. So, I'm going to get rid of Big Red in front of me.
All right.
I'm gonna press the delete button.
This
That
thing
doesn't
is here, and
exist.
you do not like this wolf is in front of you. It appears to be quite resilient.
Yeah, well, you know, at least I distracted it, so.
It moves.
So
like Quicksilver.
is the fate? until your next turn. It's the end of your next turn, right? It's still flat-footed to your right.
Yeah.
You get a full 2 rounds of use out of that feint. So it's distracted by a combination of you throwing the crossbow and this man doing the can in front of it.
Yeah. You'll probably me getting hit in the back.
So he is flat-footed to you.
Yes. Well, let's go in there. No, that's not gonna hit.
That's a 3.
So that's gonna be a total of 10.
We need to get your different
A
dice.
10 does not connect.
Doesn't
No.
flat-footed reduce its AC by 2?
Flat-footed
It
does. That's why I
reduces
said
by
that's why I said
exact
if it's not an at one, tell me anyway. You still
Yeah,
might,
yeah,
but flat-footed is a -2 to its AC.
So I'll try again.
So your weapon is agile at least. So the second swing is only at a -4.
Yeah. Let's see. Well,
Better.
that's 18. That'll be 14 then.
A 14 will absolutely connect with the distracted wolf. So you would get your sneak attack as well as the damage from your rapier.
All right. Well, damage from rapier is 4 plus 1 is 5, and then sneak attack's another d6. Another 3, so that's a total of 9.
With a total of 9 damage, that strike will put the third of the smaller wolves down with a single calculated thrust, leaving only this massive beast behind you.
Okay, we got it.
It's fine. I'm gonna use my last action to run over here and get my bow. But I haven't picked it up yet.
Move back up into the tree line to pick up your crossbow and go nowhere near this disgusting acid-spewing beast. Now, as this battle continues and the wolf is starting to be slain, you can see further down towards the front of the caravan, Ulf and Ulf fighting off another trio of wolves, one fallen in the mud before them, but each fending off a lone wolf. And further up near the front, Bort, with a fairly long spear, just stabbing down at one, harassing the front horses. You can hear Glunda and Tamley on the other side fending off more. This pack is closing in from all sides, but none of you see anything near this hulking beast in front of
What have
you.
we done to make the dogs so angry?
Marn, you are up in a Delpha, you're on deck.
Might want to get behind me. Actually, on second thought, don't get behind me. This
Not directly behind me, maybe.
This thing breathes something awful. So Marn's going to quickly reverse the halberd and swing it upward to try to catch, which takes him up into a high stance, which then he can then bring down in another powerful downward stroke to try to catch it down. Formation fighting's typically used to break a spear line.
Fair enough. Something he would know and will work equally well on a large dog.
About to
as it
find
does a
out.
shield. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, well, the die will tell us how well that works.
Yeah. Exacting the first is a 20 again. Sets a 30 with
Wait, is it
inspiration.
natural 20?
It's a natural 20.
Okay, so yeah,
plus 30
natural 20
inspiration.
is generally just going to crit automatically. So as you move in, clearly the only trained fighter in the group, he immediately critically strikes this disgusting acidic beast.
Does no protects.
Its mouth is still open from spitting.
So that's going to be, this actually applies to that too, so that's going to be a 5 and 6, 11 times 2, 22 for the exacting strike.
And with that powerful 22 damage strike, the wolf yelps in pain and reels back, spewing this foul blood, but continues its attack still.
Okay.
Dramatically hardier from something.
Well, let's see if I can go split it open with the downward stroke. Power attack now. That's not gonna do it. That's a 7 minus 5 to a 2, even with bonuses. Well, actually, yeah, no, because that's a 10 and 2, 12, yeah, no.
12, well, yeah, as it recoils from the first strike, it pulls back a bit in pain, landing once again this heavy overhanded blow into the mud in front of it.
Back on guard.
And that leads us to just Adelpha. The wolf looks very injured. This strike would have been more than enough to nearly cut any of the rest of them in two. But this beast, whatever it is still fighting now for its own life. And there is few things more dangerous than a cornered giant acid wolf.
Yeah.
Just go away, you
Giant
stupid acid wolf.
wolf approached.
Just
Hurrah!
run away.
Hurrah!
Okay, so I am going to move. Wait, is it 5?
She doesn't even
Okay.
know how to count. She's so terrified.
I know exactly. This is exactly my problem. Okay, so I am going to move. I guess I don't want to get in front of the orc. The orc looks very dangerous, and his legs are flying all over the place. So
He's
Not
kicking
on the
chicken.
wolf, but there's feet everywhere.
Just being in the general
Feet
vicinity.
everywhere.
okay, I am going to as the wolf rears up, I am going to try and divine lance it as it is such a huge wolf, and maybe I can shoot it over Martin's head.
You don't wagon the way you're a bit closer. It's a ginormous target.
Yeah. No, that's a natural one.
We
That's
need
the
different dice.
worst.
Nice.
All over the place. This is so
rolls
crazy.
Lauren's d20 now.
Okay, so that was really not what I wanted to do.
Again, you are almost in a near panic here at what's
Yeah.
happening, and with this divine lance just speared into the ground to the side of Marn, not even far enough to strike a wolf.
So I really decide that where
You're
I
right back
was,
there, little miss.
where I was really much a better spot. And I switched back around to where I was.
Back around the wagon again, taking cover, but you moved up, got a blast of ass in the face, and threw a lance and went back behind the wagon.
It's like,
Yeah.
guys, it stings, please stop.
Now,
Exactly.
this wolf, drooling, growling, and in pain, is going to take its best attempt to strike out towards Marn. And it's fairly large, coming up above your waist. A hulking beast, and with the head of your halberd now lodged firmly in the ground, does a 33. I'm sure that hits and probably doesn't crit.
Does a 33. A 33. My AC is an 18, so that's certainly a hit. And
No,
it's
I'm
10
dumb.
more.
23. Math's hard for me. 23.
Oh, that's a 23.
Yeah, not a 33, but a 33 would
I was
probably-
I was
gonna
like,
say,
oh god,
I
it's
was
the
like-
troll all over.
I was gonna say, I was like, oh my,
This
oh
whole
my.
section
I was
was a
looking,
bait.
literally, I'm looking at the 12 upside down, and I'm so dumb, and then it's like 20 plus, no, 23. Hits and probably does not crit.
Does not crit, but does hit. Get that? I get the haft of the halberd a little bit in the way before it goes and gets my forearm.
But he bites down on you.
All right.
You take 6 damage, and the remnants of this acidic sludge, this bile in his mouth, is another 2 damage to you.
Ugh.
And as he gets his jaws into you, he is then immediately going to rip you to the ground.
Ooh.
You are prone. And continue to tear into this target he seems to be finding some purchase with.
Oh. Grunting, crying, trying to beat him off.
So
Wish I was wearing van braces.
now down and injured and prone does another 23. Because I rolled 5 higher than the first one. He has a -5.
Oh, that's perfect then, and I'm at -2 AC anyway, so
Yeah,
yes, that
he
also
will-
will hit.
He tears into you savagely for another 8 damage total between his jaws
Oh.
and his burning acid.
I'm
and
down.
that is enough to take Marn out of the fight. So, Marn, you are now also dying.
As I am.
Kill the fighter!
So, take a disc, and then you can use this to track the dying value if you want, or you can just
Alrighty.
put a d6 on it, whatever's easier for you.
Okie dokes.
But as you go down, normally that would move your initiative to immediately before the... Oh, it is actually technically not. That would move your initiative to immediately before the wolf. Now, he didn't take you down with a crit or anything, so you are just dying 1.
So I'm dying 1 right now.
So you see Marn, the rest of you see him get pulled to the ground, and as this
stomped
massive
on.
wolf
And just starts
tears into him, he
savaging.
defends himself for a moment before falling still
Just
on
like
the ground.
Mail rings just fly off.
Filippo. And
You're
then a
doing
roll
just fine.
You've got this, Mark! Hang in there!
Continue holding his attention. You're doing great. Thumbs up. This wolf is clearly far more dangerous than its kin.
Filippo will charge in over Marn's body, trying to defend his fallen companion, and thrust his rapier into the pelt of the wolf, where he's already been damaged by Marn's
And he's been
halberd
damaged
strike.
quite severely by that halberd strike.
And then he'll twist it in and then make a second slashing attack.
Okay, so are you continuing your performance? Because I just remembered bards are totally different in this game. And it's like,
I will also continue Inspire Courage, because that's only one action.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Because I had it in my mind that's just a thing that keeps going once it started. But it's very different in second edition. You actually have to spend an action every turn.
Yes,
to keep
which
going.
is what I've been
That's why I
doing.
just clarified, because you've been doing 2 actions.
Yeah.
But just because we're getting acclimated with the rules, and so is chat probably saying second edition. it is another action each turn to continue that. That's why she's been taking 2.
Yes.
I was just I just remembered that and figured it merited explaining at least once. Anyway.
And I thought Die Hard would never come in handy.
Dying 5. Don't
With a
get there.
vengeance.
Okay. That is going to be a 19.
A 19 will land. Are now wounded, you're able to strike with this rapier into this acidic beast, whatever this wolf is.
Into his thingy thing.
Into his thingy thing.
That's going to be an 8 damage.
And with 8 damage, that is actually exactly enough. Just what was necessary to push this wolf over the edge of death's door after the strike that Marn had dealt to him. So you don't need to make that second swing. You do have an action remaining, and you can attempt, even untrained, to use a medicine check to try to tend to Marn if you want to do that.
I will. I'll actually kneel down and go, you put pressure on it, right? I think that's what you do.
Definitely not trained in medicine.
Through a red haze, Marn's like, oh god.
Like, just the cloth is red. No one will notice.
All right.
That's gonna be a 16.
Lucky my Gambeson's so
And with
absorbent.
it's actually 2 actions to do this. Did you start with Inspiring Courage?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, so you can start treating him, but it's actually 2 actions to administer first.
Okay, then I can't do it.
See what the DC and stuff was. So you kneel down and start trying to help him.
Just stop
Clearly
bleeding,
out
please.
of your depth. Roll Geesh.
Alright, seeing as the big thing is now gone and the small things are no longer moving, I'm going to go over to the dying individual here who appears to be very not happy with his multiple bite wounds and whatnot. And we are going to try to not let him die.
So you
Kind
want
of you,
to-
thank you.
You've got the 2 actions. You move in, and you see that Filippo clearly has got no idea what he's doing. He's not a medical expert.
Stop.
He's like, pressured? Yes, I think.
That's
Here, you have to do it like this.
Ooh, that works.
That's a 19 on the die. That's a 23 total.
I don't believe I wouldn't be a critical success.
Why am I better at healing than all of you?
I
You're a
am
trained
very
soldier,
good.
You
Yeah.
have field medicine, I guess.
Basically,
I
yeah.
too am very good at healing.
I'm actually you're the best.
You are able to stabilize Marn and make sure that his injuries do not lead to his demise. So I will trade you that dying card for a wounded card.
Woot woot.
Good sir. And you hang on to that. You are still definitely not conscious, but you are at least stable. And with that, you can see around the wagon, the rest of the wolves that have been attacking from various directions are breaking. As this, whatever this beast was that led them, it still looks a wolf, just larger and oddly distressed, and I mean, it can vomit acid, so that's clearly wrong. As it fell, the rest of the wolves almost seemed to change. Their demeanor, aggressive, feral, raging, stops, and those that are still left standing immediately turn, yipping, running back into the tree lines from whence they came, scattering in different directions, losing any semblance of the pack they had had.
clearly the unnatural beast was leading them with its weird ways.
And with
That's
a,
why I had to do an equally weird action in order to distract it.
with a cheer,
I don't know about you.
with a cheer from Bort and Tamley, almost more of a war cry eliciting from the half-orc woman's mouth, and Ulf and Oof immediately both raising their swords together, and leaning over in pain from their what don't appear to be terribly major wounds.
Bring us a poultice!
The caravan appears to be
Don't
safe.
worry, we have a healer.
With no casualties.
Or-
It's just casual.
Marn's unconscious and injured, but not dying at this
Yay.
exact moment.
That's
So
all that matters.
you got that going for you, which is nice.
Now
Let's
that
find out some
everything's
tools in
kind
the
of
caravan.
calmed down a little bit, kind of take a look at the unnatural wolf, see if I can, look at the...
As you move over
I'm picking up
to
my crossbow.
check
I
out,
can't heal him, I don't even know what to do with this cloth.
As you move to check out this wolf, you immediately hear Tomley calling over the wagon, "Oi, Ulf, Ulf! Travelers, we need assistance. Come to the front. And you can all immediately see that this attack has very much spooked a lot of the horses. And while Glenda was able to keep some of them under control with the combination of her skills and her magic, the wagon behind Bortz, the caravan, has run off the side of the road as the horses panicked, trying to escape the attackers. And they are now currently very stuck. Ulf and Ulf immediately start to move over towards the wagon, and Tamley comes around and just sees Marn on the ground and motions to most of the rest of you over towards the wagon as she moves the tent to Marn.
Go
So,
ahead and
what
head
do you?
on
Who
over.
wants to go over?
I'm gonna go pull a
I'll go.
wagon out of a ditch.
My wants are entirely irrelevant at the moment.
I really want to take a look at this wolf before anything else happens and it disappears or melts into the ground or something else.
What about you, Adelpha?
Computer
Okay.
decided wondering it.
I have a question.
I have an answer, probably.
So
50-50 with second edition. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't really know how this works, and I don't want to wake up 4 wolves. But if I do the 30-foot healing,
The wolves are now dead, and your
They're,
heal
like, super
will
dead?
not resurrect them from the grave.
well, I didn't know if they also had like a dying one.
No, the wolves have been slain. That is no
I
longer
can
a
just
problem.
totally see the Pathfinder devs just going
Yeah.
like,
They're
how much
like-
bookkeeping can we get the GM do?
The wolves.
So-
It's actually a nice thing in second edition that is a thing you have to worry about in first edition, because technically, I mean, almost everyone that's ever existed hand waves this. But technically, when enemies go down, they're also dying the same way, and they're not down. But in second edition, it's explicitly stated that minor enemies are just dead. Like when they hit 0, they're just dead. There's no stagger, there's no dying condition. The wolves have been slain.
Okay, good.
They're
dead yet?
they're dead, and a healing spell is not going to bring them back
Okay,
from the grave. Don't
so
worry
I
about it.
was going to do a 3-action healing spell and heal everyone within 30 feet.
Okay. You
Yeah.
can absolutely do that. How much does that heal for?
D8.
D8. Okay. So,
Yeah, which is 4. Everybody gets healed
so
for 4.
everybody,
Yay.
as she channels this magic through her holy symbol and prays the Saren Ray, regains 4 health, and Marn would regain consciousness in the dirt.
Mm-hmm. And then I will.
Not the worst wake-ups I've ever had.
I can go over with my medicine kit and actually try and really heal this guy.
Not just that fake healing.
Yeah,
Not
fake
fake
healing.
magical
Ain't
healing.
about that fake
I have
healing.
a medicine kit too, but
So,
I'm going towards the
You
horses.
go to inspect the wolf. Do you have, well, everyone's got a nature skill. Are you at least trained in nature?
I am in no way trained in nature. I am
Alright.
trained in occultism.
Go ahead and make me a nature check. Because you can still do it.
That is a nat 20, so that is still a 22.
Well, that is a 22, and that'll be promoted to a critical success and a natural 20. So as you look it over, this wolf appears to there's obviously a whole lot of things wrong with it. It's not a natural thing. This is nothing. I mean, you're not exactly trained in this, but it's nothing you've ever come across before, nothing you've ever experienced. But there's
Wolves don't
nothing.
spew acid.
Yeah,
It's that Andorran wolf breed.
It clearly vomits acid, which is far beyond anything that you can make sense of. But looking it over, nothing you can see about the wolf appears to be anything other than just a large wolf. Beyond that insane ability that it had and its strange power over the rest, seemingly over the rest of the wolves that were attacking. Nothing looks terribly out of the ordinary to you. It, for all intents and purposes, is just a rather large wolf. You're kind of stumped on what could possibly have caused this. Meanwhile, Elrith and Rolgish both move over with Ulf and Ulf to try to move the wagon. And they approach Ulf very much hanging with one arm and looking truly very much injured. And Ulf limping quite severely, but they both appear to be a minor bit bloodied and nothing more at first glance.
I just got a hole in my cloak.
Yeah, you get a hole in it. I imagine most of the skin on your back probably doesn't exist anymore. But both of you would approach the wagon, they would look towards you, and Ulf would call out, help us with this wagon. We're in no proper state. We can push, lads, but a little more. And I need both of you guys to make me athletics checks.
Oh, great.
You two go get some healing. I'll take care of it. 20.
3.
20 and a 3. So as you both push up on the cart, and Ulf and Oof, once they get working, seem to be, fully functional, help to push as well. You manage to force the cart back up out of this rut and onto the track.
I'm only 100
Elreath,
pounds. I can only push so much.
you do strain yourself a wee bit doing so, and you are fatigued. If you want to hand this down.
For sure.
You pulled something. It didn't go.
I don't know if it's part of the acid or if I just
You
lifted
just
too
like
hard.
Delicate.
Got a hernia.
Delicate
Don't know.
elven sinew.
Strength,
The
not the
weak
strong suit,
constitution of
clearly
the
here.
elves.
But you do haul it back up onto the track, and right as you do, Bort comes scrambling down from the front of the wagon to check everyone out, and comes hurrying nodding towards everyone, and he sees Ulf and Ulf and stops. And looks at both of their injuries, and they both immediately start complaining. Looks at you.
I'm just heaving.
Clearly dramatically more injured, even bent over with most of the back of your cloak and your shirt and your back burnt away. And Rolgish,
At this point, I've got like a little bit of blood on my leg.
it clearly bloodied a bit. And he seems a bit confused by Ulf and Ulf seeming to take this so badly. And then he notices Marn literally in the dirt between the wagons and hurries, scampers his little dwarf with as fast as his little dwarven legs can carry him over to you. Laddie, all right?
I've had worse. Like his mail is ripped, the gambeson is torn, it's bloody.
And he reaches down and pulls you at least up to sitting in the dirt and looks you over. I think not much worse than this, lad, but a little bit. The head of a beast you put down. I didn't notice the thing. I was trying to fend him off the lead wagon. But,
Desna protects.
It's what we're here for.
Desno, whatever, you've more than earned your stay on the wagon here. I shouldn't have charged you anything. I owe you at the very least a dinner, that turns folly.
We'll take it. And some of
Sounds
your inspiring stories. Truly, that courage saw me through.
The beast was unnatural, and its control over the other wolves.
Oh, it's
not
unnatural, is
normal.
it? It's unnatural.
Oh.
What makes you say that?
Oh, whatever it is, I'll be more than happy to get the hells away from that thing.
I'll say Captain Obvious and Dwarven.
Get the carriages loaded up as soon as we can. I think you ought to lay down, lad. And Ulf and Ulf at this point have staggered over towards you, still both complaining about their minor scrapes and bruises they appear to have sustained, very clearly playing them up as much more dramatic than they actually are.
Come on, let's
Let's
get
get out
you
the
in the
Lamar.
carriage.
Of course.
Here, lean on me.
I've got it. Thank you.
I will
So-
tell you a story of my forefathers. It will comfort you in this time of pain.
He'll kind of like lean on like the shoulder, which is down by his waist.
Just use me as a crutch.
Improvised
I'm used
crutch.
to it.
Halberd in the other one.
As a group of you help Marn over to lay down, and they clear some space in one of the middling wagons with the cargo to lay down, probably amongst a set of boxes with at least a blanket or a bedroll laid across them. That's the best we can do.
Thankfully,
given
the injuries are on
situation.
my front, so when I lay down, it doesn't agonize me.
No.
I'm gonna try to cheer you up by telling you how amazing you looked from third person. Like actually narrate how awesome you looked when you were taking the unnatural wolf down.
He actually kind of puffs up a bit when you start explaining those things. It's kind of like, hey, I actually
Well, it
look
was
kinda
pretty
good,
awesome,
did
wasn't it?
I did look that good. That's kind of cool. Thank
So
you.
you have some downtime. No one here on the caravan is particularly well trained at tending to wounds.
I am.
But they, no, I mean of the actual
Oh.
the workers.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm like,
I was like, am I the
would
best
say.
trained healer of all of you?
but Tamley and Glenda are both more than happy to try to step in and help unless one of you would rather do it.
I would rather do
Seeing
it,
as
yes.
there's
Myself,
cleric and a
there's a
seemingly confident in his abilities elf,
I think we'll all be healing each other.
they're going to kind of leave you to that. So, Adelpha, go ahead and make me a medicine check to treat Martin's wounds here? As you're the cleric and he's clearly the most severely wounded.
Well, I get a 9 with a 2 on the die.
She's a little shy first sight of serious battle injuries.
Well, I also
So-
have to take off your shirt and everything, and this this is a bit much.
Oh, peeling off a male shirt's a pain in the ass, too.
Especially a shredded one. That's going to be difficult to get off without causing further injuries. And you're really out of your element here. And you know what you should be doing, but your hands are shaky.
That was a very traumatic experience.
Very traumatized.
Yeah.
By the 4 damage you took from his spray at one time, and just the general battle
I
happening
saw
around
lots
you.
of blood.
I'll try to heal the
All right.
bump over here.
And the elf will try to help out.
And that's going to be a 9. So that's
None of you are terribly good at this.
I'm
maybe
going to perform meatball surgery.
You have a difficult time tending to him as he's just trying to put it, he's like, oh, I'm fine, back off, trying to tend to Martin.
So you gotta peel the mail off first.
That's the easy
Look, I'm
part.
gonna clean your windows. That's what I'm gonna do. Just give me
hold
a face.
still.
2 of you cluttered in. Is that a natural 1?
That's a
No.
2.
So what's your total?
6.
So once again, trying to bandage over the mail.
Yep.
It's just
It's
not
just the 2
gonna
of
work.
you, with the 2 of you trying to tend to him, and Elrith in the back trying to convince
I'll just
Roldees to
enjoy
step
the
down and be
attention,
treated.
I guess.
It's just a shit show. It's an absolute clusterfuck. Nothing gets accomplished
the
here.
Benny Hill music plays in back.
He's just gonna start popping. He's just gonna start popping rings up the side. He'll tie him up with leather later.
I don't know how you expect a monk to know what the hell to do with armor.
So
You ever those big robes you're wearing? They ever get really wet? You know what it's like to peel them off? It's the same
I don't know. This
motion.
thing's kind of peeled off on me.
none of you
I'll actually use prestidigitation to get the blood off, so that way
managed
at
to
least
make
it's
any headway on
easier.
actual healing.
I can at least clean you
I'll
up, man.
eventually pop enough rings to be able to kind of shimmy out of my mail and then just unbutton the
The
gambeson.
good news is you're barely more than an hour from Etrin's Folly, and with the caravan back underway and Marn at least laid down if he's not resting or really feeling any better.
Can I try to
Plus, I'm
bandage
off fatigue,
myself? Can I borrow someone's med kit to try to heal myself?
I have one.
Don't
You know,
forget, I've
I'll
been
let you
leaving
go
this
for
entire
it.
time.
Everyone else is clearly failing. Let's just add to the circus of
Let's
ineptitude
just
as
see
Martin
if
tries to.
one-handed I'm a little better than the orc, but not appreciably. That's an 11.
You guys are. It's just, too many cooks.
All right.
Way too many cooks. And it's.
I got an 18 to assist.
It's not. It's really not like.
Just tell me some good stories.
That's what I'm gonna do.
All right, I feel
tell you
better
some
It's
about
actually
it.
DC 20 to assist
That's
now.
hysterical.
So, you can't even help at all. Your stories are at best distracting.
I'm going to craft the yarn of
But after a
Marn.
little more than an hour, the caravan does finally roll into the small hamlet of Etrin's Folly. And I figure there is probably a spectacular place for us to take a little bit of a midstream break there. So, chat, we'll be back in a few minutes so we can stand up, get out of the seats here, move around, not for me anyway, try to sit as still as possible to not knock the microphone. Well, the fight went okay.
Yeah.
We had the obligatory level 1 circus of ineptitude afterwards, but that's just kind of how these things go. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back,
Back at it.
everybody. Back into the shit show. We continue.
That's called level 1 Pathfinder.
Well, it is. I do like this much more than the previous
For
shit
sure.
show.
Wow.
Level 1 Pathfinder is now a dramatically better experience than
We
it used to
can't
be.
get killed by a cat.
I mean, you can always get killed by anything if you roll it badly enough.
That is true.
Yeah.
But
Or if they randomly have weird abilities like spitting.
if they can just vomit surprise acid breath at you,
Patooey!
when you are in the worst possible alignment to have acid spit upon you.
Well, we weren't all lined up.
That's
I mean,
true.
the 5 of you were. I just like it because,
Desna was protecting me.
for comparison reasons, because this is just kind of the learning things, little adventure. I'm not super bothered with the peek behind the curtain as it is. Those wolves are dumb as hell. A wolf does not in any way attempt to hit multiple people with the spit. It just spits on the person it's attacking. Everyone just lined up right behind Marn, so it just got the line shot right through 3 members of the party with a huge pile of tasty 3d6 acid breath.
It's designed to take advantage of the player's natural inclination to hide behind the fighter.
That is accurate. That is accurate. That's exactly what it does.
I wasn't even attempting to hide.
They just happened to be in the wrong place. Nobody was actually. None of the people who got hit were trying to hide behind the fighter. She was coming out of the wagon. You were fighting something completely unrelated on the other side.
Of course, the rogue's wounds are on his back.
Yeah.
It's fitting.
It is absolutely fitting. Well, a little more than an hour later, the caravan rolls into Etron's Folly, a fairly small hamlet of a few dozen houses gathered around a town circle. And I do, in fact, have a map of this that I can move us over to, that I can put here on ye olden screen and close the initiative table, because we don't need that this exact moment. I want to find a solution to me having to lean 20 miles over here to do anything with the camera, but
Wireless mouse.
wireless mouse is actually an incredibly simple and functional solution. Yep, that'll do. That'll absolutely do.
I have 4 of them in my
I should
house.
probably
I'll just
grab
bring
a
one.
wireless mouse. But it's a relatively small community. Most of the simple wood and thatch homes of the common folk who live out here on the outskirts of Iskir, pretty far from anything, are nearly identical to each other. And notably, all of them are in similar states of disrepair. You ride in from the northern end of this town, and you pass by a wide swath of houses that are clearly abandoned. Roofs collapsed, windows shattered outward, and doors hanging off their hinges, if not lying in the overgrown grasses of the lawn. The vast majority of Etron's Folly appears to just be a nothing.
Are there any of those buildings that I could possibly salvage into making a nice house for all of us?
That sounds like it would be a lot more money and effort than you possess or probably are willing to put in at this moment in time. And
Can we tell about how long ago most of the buildings were abandoned?
I have engineering lore.
I mean, if the roof's caved in, probably a while.
Give me... I'll give engineering lore for that. Sure, give me an engineering lore.
Oh, great. I don't know anything.
Okay.
6.
6?
You'd never
you,
engineered these kind of buildings.
Well,
obviously.
it's been at least a little while, but it's hard to tell really. They're not terribly overgrown. The wilds haven't completely retaken them, so it's not like they've been abandoned for centuries. But some of the plants and vines are starting to grow up and in through some of the windows. Some of the roofs have caved in. It's clearly been more than just a couple of years. The actual time frame,
More than a couple of years is helpful.
difficult to tell. Yeah, it didn't happen yesterday. But that's not the only notable thing in the town. As you ride down and through the town's center, where there is that little boop in the middle of the map there in the center of the town square, that is a strange object. It's a large, flat, cylindrical object about 2 feet high of just solid rock with a hole in its center, about 1.5 inches across,
I know
and
what to put in that.
a bowl-shaped depression off to one side, a few inches deep.
Off to one side of the central hole.
Yes.
Okay.
Would this be a knowledge check?
Well, you would, except that as you're following along in the caravan, Urf is going to point to that immediately and nod off. That's the Plaguestone,
The Plaguestone?
or we've heard it.
The what?
Why would Why would you call something in the middle of your town something so uninviting?
And Ulf chimes in for her back. Oh, well, that's what put all these houses into such disrepair.
That stone?
Well, the plague ripped through the town a few decades back. Little hamlet never had the resources to recover, really.
Can I like put a cork in the hole and will that stop all the like disease and stuff?
And the Ulf and Oof just start laughing and oh, lads, no, it was a stone, a tribute to wash your hands in the holy and blessed waters, the cleansing, or what treatment it had, and leave what coin you could offer as penance to the.
So the solution to the plague was to have every person in the town wash their hands in the same water?
And Ulf calls back out, holy water, lad. It makes sense.
Oh, of course.
Haven't you ever heard of Legionnaire's disease?
No?
No?
What's Legionnaire's disease? I'm not
Hang
familiar.
I mean, legionnaires do get sick. It does happen a lot.
Hang out with some filthy water. Drink it down a little. When you get the squirts, you'll know what I mean.
And Ulf says, well, you don't drink the plague stuff. It hasn't been used in decades anyway. This was way back when a generation. It's just we don't bring it up to local folk. It's
Archie?
Fair, I suppose.
well, I mean, lads and ladies lost more than half the town to this plague. It's a massive problem. You're from Easker, dwarf.
Not here.
Well, it's been a bit of a thing. It's not fantastic, but what is fantastic, and he points over past into a one fairly large building on the other side of the circle, on the eastern end with a attached stable in the back. Like, that's the feed mill, and the turnip ale is fantastic. Absolutely nothing else about this shithole of a town, but the ale at least.
Gotta have something
I feel
to
like
keep
I
everybody here.
I could use a drink.
And so you pull into the area here
I will keep this body.
nearby this large building labeled the Feed Mill. Great appealing name for a tavern or an inn. But upon arrival immediately, the Teamsters, which would include Elreath, start securing the caravan, all the various wagons for the overnight stay, and
I have coin.
getting the horses ready for the stabling. And immediately, as you would pull in, a woman comes out to meet you. Small even for a halfling woman, with about as much hair on her exposed feet as she has curled around her head.
Oh, I love halflings.
And as she waddles out looking at the horses, some of which have sustained an amount of visible injuries, which Glenda the gnome had done her best to treat, but something had obviously happened. And she staggers out, "Oi! What you let happen to these horses, Bort?" And he just kind of grimaces down. "A pack of wolves. Not much we could have done about it. If it wasn't for the travelers we'd brought on, might not have made it, all things considered." And she just kind of looks around. "What travelers? I ain't never bothered committing to your folks' faces to memory. Who's even new here?" And Bort just kind of waves vaguely at the back of you. Most of them at this point. No matter, they'll be well enough. We can tend to them. They'll last the night.
The horses or us?
And he looks down at you. "Well, I imagine you'll certainly last the night in the feed mill. A sight better than staying in the caravan, that's to be sure. A bedroll in the dirt's nothing to even the simplest of hay mattresses, and this might just be that." And Edra just kind of glazing a bit and shakes her head. "I'll just bring the damn horses back around and I'll stable them up."
Before you go, is there anyone in this town that is trained in is a trained healer?
And she just kind of looks you up and down. I deal with the horses. Yeah. You can ask, I don't know, Delma? Inside, maybe?
Delma inside. I'll check with Delma. Thank you.
And her, Bort, Ulf and Ulf, and Tamley start readying things to prepare for the evening. Bort calls out the lot of you before he disappears back in the stables. Oi! Meet up around before sundown and I get you all that dinner I owe you. And turnip porridge. I know what it sounds like, but just trust me on this one. Half the reason we route our caravan out the Veterans Folly is that porridge.
Throw enough cream in it, it'll taste great.
No. You just leave it exactly how Laura whips it up. It's perfect. But do as you will. Drinks in the taverns and beds if you're tired or want to rest, come on, of course. But we'll be here for the evening. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sure leave as it was.
I'm fatigued, so I'm just gonna be standing around at the tavern.
You are definitely, you are fatigued, so you
So
are
I will not
standing
be.
or sitting sounds
Well,
like it's
yeah, sitting.
probably better.
You know, probably laying down. I don't know, because my back kind of hurts.
I'm gonna actually use this opportunity to use my hobnobbing ability.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna kind of just talk up some people who are just hanging around the tavern, some locals, share news of where
Well,
I've come from.
As you head into the tavern, there is exactly one person there drinking. So,
Okay, I will
That
attempt
is-
to read lips,
okay.
or whatever they say.
He's not saying much of anything.
Okay.
He's
if it's the only person that's there, it's gonna
Taggart's in the way.
take my
the
attention.
inside of the feed mill is a fairly large, just tavern, a drinking area with a stairwell leading to almost a loft above, with a few offshoots of sheltered, somewhat sheltered rooms beneath the thatched roof, and a door leading, a couple doors leading to the back to the kitchens and offices behind. But it's entirely abandoned, save for a single, fairly large man with a shaved head and a large, prominent scar across his right eye.
Anybody who has a scarred eye deserves talking to.
Sitting there, pretty deep in what doesn't look like his first tankard. And a pair of pointed ears sticking up behind the bar at the far end of the room. So there's not a whole lot to hobnob on here, unfortunately, at the moment. Perhaps later, but right now.
Okay, I'll wait till the tavern fills up a little bit more. Surely it will once night falls. Do you think you can help him a little bit more now that we're kind of someplace quiet? You're always better when you and I are alone together, and we can concentrate.
Of course.
Okay. I will. This person piques my curiosity.
Are you all going into the feed mill, by the way? It's kind of
Yeah.
where they left
Well,
you.
yeah,
It's
it's
like the
inside.
obvious tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that or like.
So
trying to
I'm
get my
fatigued.
Indies
I'm not
trained-
going to be traveling
treated
town
in
to
the
get
dirt.
any
Although you're
information.
British.
So
That doesn't sound appealing.
So what does sound appealing?
Going and making my own dinner. Finding
With what?
anything I can find out in the woods nearby.
Oh, so you literally want to just go out
Yeah.
and just
I
like
can put
wild
together
man
a
it.
decent dinner for myself
Might
rather
be-
than turnip.
You might be able
Porridge.
to catch some wolves.
Yeah.
Possibly
I
catch
understand
some
they make good
wolves.
roasting. Of course, the wolves aren't too clean in these parts,
You
apparently.
probably don't want to eat the wolves that you came across. That sounds like a terrible idea. Well, the rest of you head in. Burlgeesh heads out into the surrounding area, and all of the land immediately around Entrance Folly is just massive farms. The vast majority of which, again, abandoned and overgrown, without so much of a hint of when they'd last been sown. They're just dirt patches filled with flowering clovers and long, weedy grasses. But a few of them, specifically the pair closest to the feed mill, close to the center of town, appeared to have a quite widespread harvest of turnips.
You guessed it.
It does not look like there is much else going on in Entrance Folly.
Staples!
You got a small hamlet that farms some turnips. So, as the four of you enter the tavern, you see this one large man and his couple ears pointed up behind the bar. You wanted to approach him.
yes, I do.
You're interested in the.
I'm interested.
in the,
Pointed ears, you know.
the
kinda
pointed
get-
ears behind the bar or the large man?
Both.
Both. Well, as you enter the tavern and your interest is piqued and you three you're discussing your plans and Marn just wants to sit down and drink something probably.
Well, preferably find someone to actually, like, patch me up, since
Yeah.
I'm
Because
still
I'm not doing very good.
severely injured.
I'm still very badly burned.
The man would turn back to the group of you as he sees all four of you come in the
All right,
door.
let's try again.
Kind of scowl.
Just so doe-eyed,
Yeah.
we have to give you another chance.
Yeah, if he scowls at me, I'm like,
Kind of scowl at the group of you and turn back towards the
I'll
bar.
go to the pointy ear guy.
Frederick! Philby! And as he yells out, you'd see those ears shoot up straight in the jolt and hear a squeaky, tiny voice call out from behind the bar, "Oh, yes, of course, just a minute!" And a little goblin would pull itself up onto the bar bodily so that it can reach the tap and pull another mug from underneath as he lays up on top of it, fills the mug, and then leaves it on the table and slides himself back down and then reaches up to grab it off of the counter. A very small thing, this little goblin. As he comes around, his stringy, greasy red hair just kind of flopping unkempt behind him, he puts his hand up on the table and reaches up as high as he can onto this high table the man's sitting at and hops a bit to try and get it up there, sloshing a little bit of ale on a table. And the large man reaches over, grabs the mug by the top, and just pushes the goblin off and picks it up. "You're getting busy. I'm taking this one." And stands up and just glares at the group of you, takes a swig, and walks out of the tavern.
Oh, it's okay. I'm gonna go to the goblin.
The goblin pushed back onto his butt.
I'll
Pulls
help him up if possible.
You reach for him, and he thinks you're going to hit him, and kind of throws his hands up a bit, realizes you're not going to, and then reaches up with both hands and, thank you, travelers. Can I fetch a drink with ale?
I've come over here to procure rooms for our party, if possible,
Yeah,
and
but-
also,
Of course, the caravan was today. I'll fetch Delma. One moment. And he scampers back through the door into the back of the tavern.
The goblin's not Delma, thank God.
Brief moment of worry that you may have to put up with this shitty goblin.
oh yeah, well for me,
You know
it's
what?
like
We're used to that.
But-
Episode 1.
Episode 1?
The Shitty Goblin Brigade. That's what episode 1 was.
Oh, right. Except it was you at the time.
You are correct.
You were the shitty goblin brigade.
We were the shitty goblin brigade.
You don't want to have to put up with the shitty goblin brigade
No.
because you've already experienced what the shitty goblin
Correct. We
brigade
blow things up and die.
is capable of, and you're not super interested. A woman comes out from the back room of the tavern here. Much more well kept. Her hair pulled back very neatly in several directions into one large bun, and a very extraordinarily well kept and neat dress. Not at all what you're expecting to see based on your first 4 seconds in Etrin's Folly. Doesn't seem to really fit terribly well. But she approaches with a smile on her face and nods and extends a hand to shake the hand of whoever it happens to be the closest at the time. Which I guess
Oh, it
that
would
would
be.
be. Everyone just points over towards Elrith and she takes hands. Greetings, I'm Delma Fulst, owner of the feed mill. Board will be in shortly to arrange your rooms. It's no need to handle it yourself. He's been through many times before.
oh okay, I was just hired by him to help procure the rooms, so I just want to make sure that it was taken care of. That's all.
Oh, you're the new. You mentioned he had a new hire for his care. He was looking to find a new hire up deeper in Easker. That must be you then, of course.
Yes.
I can fetch drinks. We have a fresh brewed turnip ale.
Lady, if it is by your own hand, I could not refuse it.
Of course. And just a pair of coppers a mug.
For sure.
Oh, it's fine. I drop silver.
And she'll
I drop a silver. Just saying.
drop us over.
For
That's,
everybody.
That's around.
Oh, we can certainly bring around for the 4 of you. And she heads back to the
Oh, yeah.
counter
He,
and starts
he went
going fishing.
filling up a few mugs. He's out in the woods doing woods things. Somewhere else entirely from where the
He's-
party
I will
He's
mention. I will
so
mention
hard
him.
right now.
Be like,
party things.
we do have a rather socially awkward half orc with us.
That's no matter. We've seen all sorts coming through the town. in our
Dealt
days
with
the
Ulf and
caravan.
Ulf, so I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure just the ride here in their company was on experience and nothing else.
So I'm not to say I haven't dressed injuries in a common room before, but I wouldn't want to make your patrons nervous. Should I go somewhere?
She just kind of looks around and gestures to the feed mill. It is entirely empty.
I just thought I'd ask.
We didn't want it to become the bleed mill.
I wouldn't concern yourself. I do appreciate the thought, but did something happen to the caravan?
Nice, Dwarven.
Is Borton Townley okay?
I think Master Filippo tells the story better than I do.
And so you.
That is my cue.
And as she brings out a round for the group of you, Filippo tells the tale.
In a low timbre, pacing himself in the telling, mostly segued around the bravery of Marn, the tale of Marn, and his defeat of the unnatural acid wolf.
And she seems...
I'm living proof. I have a hole in my back.
You have most of your back missing at this point. Yeah, it'll be very obvious. Your shirt barely hanging on you by the sleeves and the neck, maybe. But she seems somewhat concerned by this tale, obviously, because this creature is, well...
unnatural.
Very, very unnatural.
And he had control over the animals of the woods, which is something I have not seen or heard of in some time.
And as you tell her that, as you finish and get into the more of the meat of the thing, really, its ability to lead the rest of the animals somehow, the door to the front opens and two more men enter. One of whom wearing a pin-striped, almost a jumper, underneath his normal farmer's overalls, and an incredibly bright sky blue pointed hat with what looks like it's literally a quill that he just stuck in the band to fancy the thing up a bit.
He's
and
smoking something.
A clearly a large lute slung across his back.
I like
As he strides in, he appears to be in very good spirits, and he holds the door open with
looks
a
like you have some
flourish.
competition. I say Dwarven.
For the other man coming with him, who appears to be very much almost his opposite. Older man with graying, unkempt hair, and just looks like a wild, unshaven growth of a few days on his face. Not that he's tried to grow a majestic beard, just that he hasn't bothered in the last few days. And as these two enter, and they see the group of you here in the tavern, the Forerunner turns to address the group of you. The travelers from Bot's Caravan! Fantastic! I am Flank! And he bows with a great flourish. And then as he does, as he gets low, he stops for a moment, then reaches up and removes his hat. And then flourishes back up onto his head. The entertainments around Etrin's Folly. You'll be staying just the night, I assume?
I'm going to roll a perception check to see what they have.
What he has?
Who has?
Yeah, what they both have.
I mean, well, they don't appear to have anything super out of the ordinary other than just like he's got a lute and a hat, and they've both got just like a small pouch on their belt, their coin purses.
Yes, I know.
You want to size up the general coin purses?
Yes. I think it's called casing.
They're sizing up different packages over here, but
At that point,
yes.
I think it is called casing. Yeah, go ahead. Roll your perception check.
20 total.
Well, the older man looks like he's got a coin purse mostly just for show, as you're not even convinced there's anything in there at all, while the barge is kept in a more solid, rather than the sack, like a leather pouch that closes over with a lid and a latch, so it's difficult to just look at it. It's not like it's hanging.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can really
But I can
see.
tell if it's heavy or not.
I mean, it's hanging on his belt as if there is at least some coin in there,
Okay.
yes. Rogue.
Diplomat, thank you.
You to maintain relations with the other races.
Yes.
Okay.
Maintaining relations.
And for some
requires
reason, the
funding.
Corps decided to attach you to a caravan going as far away from civilization as
Well,
possible.
I wonder what they
size up our
sent you so
competition
far
here.
from Keonan. It's starting to come together for me. So,
I'm also here to establish relations, but not with them.
So, as the bard grins and looks you over, well, I do apologize if my wonderful dulcet tones and entertainment for the evening's dinner and drinking does encourage you to stay a little longer than board may wish. I've met the men some before, but would be entranced, I am sure. Many are.
Well, if you can keep our employer entranced, you'll keep us around as well.
And
I say in Dwarven to you, he thinks he could do your job better than you.
Why do you keep talking in these weird things? Just randomly. Seriously, it's starting to grate on my nerves.
the older man comes.
I'm sorry. I just have to make sure that we're on the same page.
The older man waves his hand.
I don't understand elves.
None of my bother. Down a drink or three, if you will, and just sits down off to the side. And the bard pulls out his lute and starts tuning it to his own voice, rather than playing the else's. Ah, it's terrible. He cannot in any way even hold a pitch to himself, and you just listen as his lute slowly gets progressively slightly more out of tune.
Is that how you're supposed to tune one of those?
Put things together.
Please stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to spoil the show in advance, sir. There will be plenty in the evening as the farmers gather for their meal.
Was that a knowledge society?
What? For what?
For the farmers gathering in their meals. That,
I mean, it just
some
sounds
sort
like
of.
a thing. It's probably going to happen because
Okay.
it's going to be the evening.
I didn't know if it was a
No,
festival or anything.
no,
That's just
it's
farmers
nothing
gathering
nothing
for their meal.
ordinary,
Okay.
It really seems like. But,
You look fatigued, friend. Can I buy you an ale since we are guests here and
Just a-
you are locals?
the bard or the old man or
The
just
old
kind
man.
of in, the old man. Sitting down, he looks up at you. I never want to say no to coin or charity. So be it. I appreciate it.
I'll signal to her. You look slightly downtrodden, my friend. Is all right?
Well, thanks, I guess.
Your friend seems happy-go-lucky and
He just kind of looks over towards the bard. That's just flunk. Never heard him in any sort of mood other than that, really. It's no bother. No need to be concerned with me. Just tired is all.
do you work out in the turnip fields?
I lend a hand some as I can. Don't own
Stab in the
holdings
dark
or
alley.
nothing here. Why? Is it do you interrogate everyone you meet when you pass through a town?
I'm a teller of stories. If I don't ask questions, how will I know to tell a story?
Oh, then regale me, my lord. It's certainly better than whatever rabble Flonk puts out.
I would be
And Flonk just asks, ha ha ha! He jests. He does. A funny man. I've rubbed off on him well.
Oh, you can tell him about what happened to my back.
And he looks over and notices, that does seem an interesting bit of a tale, and perhaps, and holds up his lute, will make for an interesting song this evening. And strums just quick, what's probably meant to be a chord. It's kind of a chord, but just seems like he's hitting some strings almost at random.
Bing, bing, bing.
At this point, I'll kind of look at him and I'll take out my instrument.
What is your instrument? Is it also a lute? Or?
It is a lute, but it's a courtier's lute.
Okay, much fancier lute.
Put a hand on shoulder. We are guests here.
The old man has asked for a story. It would be rude of me to deny him.
I'm gonna go up to the bard and I'll be like, it's just so encouraging to see someone like you, like that.
I say
That-
in Dwarven, don't overdo it.
And he's very enraptured.
Even like you keep soldiering on, even though it's clear. When I mean, with everything clearly, I mean I don't.
And he removes his hat and holds it across his lute and looks kind of up in no particular direction as
It
he
might
does.
just
Milady, Although at times life is truly a struggle. As they've always said, the wise words. He looks like he's thinking really hard. You still live your life as you can. And that's all we can do. And puts the hat back on his head.
It must be so encouraging to all the others that have disabilities.
I'm
I
sorry?
almost spit out my ale.
I'm just drinking my ale. There's no context.
And as the
I
first
think to
time
myself,
the older man immediately
compliments everybody.
grins a bit, and Delma in the back just and looks down, trying to stifle a laugh. And Flog looks at you. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. Perhaps a dwarven mistranslation, milady.
It's just, I just find it very heartening, and it's.
Well, it is. I do my best to encourage and rapture and to entertain, of course. And
Is anybody looking at us?
Well, is it
How many
you?
people here?
I mean, Delma's very much looking at
Entire
this.
room is looking at this.
Trying kind of not to look, but definitely is.
Mine is so interested in his ale right now.
Samard is not looking at all. And the old man at the table is just almost amused and then goes back to his drink, not terribly interested. Why?
No, I just wanted to make sure.
So, I'm gonna start singing a song called "In the Village Smithy,"
It's not worth our time. They don't
which
have
is
much.
about a smithy who falls in love with a woman, but then gets called
The
off
old man
to
probably
war,
does, but not this
and
part.
she pines his return, and she's actually ends up running the inn and becomes an innkeeper, and waiting for her love's return. And he comes back 30 years later when she's married and already has children. But he comes back to seek her, but she can't betray the family that she has. So he stays on to take care of her through her old age, even
You're
though he knows he
prepared
can
for
never
this.
be with her. Yeah.
Okay, a bard who comes prepared with bardic tales.
Yes.
Why don't you just roll me a perform check and we'll see how this goes.
That's gonna be an 18 plus 6 is a 24.
That's pretty fantastic.
Well, she came prepared. I mean, he
I
came
came
prepared.
You
So.
came very prepared. I would absolutely, a 24 would definitely say to the listeners here, which is a total of an old man, a Flonk, and Delma.
I say dwarves. Hey, you overdid it.
Absolutely a critical success. And the old man, at first seeming like he was mildly humoring you, actually starts to become very much interested in this tale you weave. And Delma in the back, as she's cleaning out mugs, this is kind of almost absent-mindedly just wiping one after all, just listening to his story. And you see the back door is crack open. And that goblin kind of pokes his head out to listen to what's going on. And listens for a bit before he just slides back into the door.
I'm like, hey, you got one, another round.
Just a bit cracked. And Flonk. It's all right, I suppose. A fine tale. You know a story. That's well done.
Thank you. I think we'll go upstairs and get our room settled.
I think, and he reaches out, puts a hand on your shoulder. Perhaps, milord, you have demonstrated some level of competence. Would you like to assist me as a backup, of course, to my performance this evening?
I would be my pleasure as a guest in your town.
This would be spectacular.
If not, I would have convinced you.
Certainly a fantastic opportunity for one such as yourself to share such limelight in our humble town.
Again, don't overdo it.
And the front door knocks open again, and another man comes in, clearly already beyond drunk, nearly leaning on the door as he comes in with a dramatically flushed face through the doorway. And a straw hat cocked back on his head. And he staggers into the tavern. and just kind of raises a finger. Stumbles over to the corner without a word. Not so much sitting down as slumping against the table. And almost sighs. And sure, Elam, you don't truly seem like you need. And he holds
Any
up
more
a finger
meat?
again. Just one will do for the bring me a drink. And sits down and just kind of almost leans down on his folded arms on the table. And Noma shakes her head and
He looks like a poor peasant.
I'll pull one of
Not
these.
much for me to take.
You need to stop speaking out loud when you say those things. He says in Dwarvish. Like, seriously, you're actually talking when you say that. It's not just in your head.
And Thelma giving
People will notice.
giving Elrith a fairly wide berth and a cautious eye, moves over and just lays a mug next to him and just pats the man on the shoulder, and heads back and addresses the rest of you. I know Borth will be good for the business here. I know he'll arrange for your rooms if you wish to rest.
I don't suppose you know of anyone who.
Let's take
did
him
you want to
upstairs.
give it a try to see if you could help with these injuries? If not, I'm sure they have someone who looks after
Let's-
injured livestock who could probably do a decent job.
Let's do it
They'll
in
do
private.
meatball surgery.
Well, I'm not exactly trained, but
You're in good company.
I've bound a wound or two, a fair bit of triage, a tourniquet, simple enough. But your dwarven lass here looks like she.
All right.
Knows what she's doing.
Let's. I guess we'll go ahead and give it another shot.
And she was in. If you need anything, just knock on the door. I'm going to head back and help Amora with the evening's meal. Oh, with the caravan in town, we're preparing a bit more than usual, of course.
Thank you.
I'll ask if they have any stronger ale.
No, well, not really. We've.
Okay,
not
I was
much
just
for
making sure so I
options.
could help dress my own wounds.
Unless Bort's
So-
brought some with him on the caravan. We've-
No, probably not.
Ale or ale. I apologize.
It's okay. Meat it is.
And she'll head back and close the door, leaving you with the drunk farmer who appears to be just sleeping on the table now. His ale untouched.
I'm going upstairs. I'm not even going to bother with the old man.
Flunk, who is headed back out, and the old man, who, finishing up his ale, is eyeing the drunkards on the other table and seemingly considering whether he should just maybe go for that one as well.
I'll attempt to dress my own wounds.
Okay.
Mage
you-
hand the ale over from one table to the other.
Looks
Save
like
them the trouble.
swap the mugs.
Swap the
Swap the
mugs.
mugs around
Just
with
swap the mugs
with
and
a-
wink at the old man.
quick bit of magic, and he winks, and again a small half a grin as he takes it and just continues to nurse another beverage. You have time in the tavern to lay rest, triage yourself, attempt to triage him again, whatever it is you want to do.
Just
So
Yeah, if you go ahead.
if you two, Elrith and an elf, want to roll me medicine checks, go ahead.
I've got the
I
nail
can-
off this time.
I can-
12.
Yeah, with a 12, it's all on your back and it's acid burn, so you're
Yeah.
really not sure how you're supposed to deal with corrosion, but you pour some mead down and bandage it up and at least dulls the pain a little.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot worse at first, but bandaged up, you tell yourself it's better. You've at least done all you can. But, not other than change into a new shirt, not a whole lot you really know how to do.
I am going to, now that we're in the inn and getting ready, because it's fairly late in the day, right?
Yeah, even the sun's gonna set here in an hour or so, and then Borden's the caravan will be along for dinner here in the feed mill.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just trying to clean myself up before dinner.
And I mean, aside from the undead, which are bound to come at us tonight,
No,
I think we're gonna be fine.
no.
You don't have a horse. It's
No,
okay.
I've had enough undead in my lifetime.
Your dog's not gonna
Thank
die. You don't
you.
have a dog. It's
Thank
gonna
you.
be fine.
I'm just from Marn's perspective. Remember my Nyx campaign experience.
No, so what do you want to do?
I was going to. Okay, this time I have him. I have Filippo watching, and I start creating this little ball of light, and I push it into his wounds, and I do. It'll be 2 action,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So that's gonna be D8 plus 8.
8.
So
So a 12.
Ooh.
So you restore 12 health to Marn.
I am no longer at 4 hit points.
Yeah, that is significantly better than 4. And,
And then-
16 is a much larger number
A
than 4.
much larger
I have
number
learned
than
in my
4.
year knowing things about numbers and math.
Exponentially better.
Yeah, yes, literally exponentially better. So, exactly exponentially better.
The radiance of her healing is matched only by that of her eyes.
Oh, that was
Meanwhile, in the woods,
All right. So we're gonna try and get some berries.
so you don't want turnip porridge or whatever. So you want to try to subsist.
For one individual,
I have one
which
more.
makes it a good living, I think.
Is that a
I have one more
survival?
of those
Yeah.
if you would like.
Why is that not under
Oh, I
survival?
was already in the other room.
It might be under
Okay.
forager, though.
Like, I already
But
tried
if
to
you come
do
out,
it.
okay.
But
I already tried
subsisting,
to
I'm
do it
pretty
myself,
sure
so
is
I
just
was like,
I thought
like,
it
yeah,
was
it's
just
not worth me trying
I'm going to go to
mess
the
with these town
index.
folks here.
Da-da.
It is our first journey to the index because subsist is not just under survival, or I thought it would be. I am surprised, honestly, that we have made it so far without 240. It's under society. Why? Okay.
I think because they assume that you're trying to make a living in a city somewhere, maybe?
Oh, it's because it's a general skill that applies to multiple, as a thing at the beginning of the skills page, because it can be used with society or survival. Since you are trying to go out into the woods and literally like forage mushrooms and shit, it is in fact going to be a survival check. I'll just give you an at-level, what?
If you're subsisting for less than half of the total amount of people that you can subsist for, it can become a good living. Or it upgrades. I read that. They might not say it there. It might be because of the feat that I have forager.
Well, is that for like subsisting as like for
Oh, is that your
downtime, or is
feat?
that just trying to get?
That
it could
might
be his feet.
That might be forager, because it's definitely not subsist. So forager, when using survival, and success is the worst you can get. And success, you can subsist for up to 5 people.
Wow. Okay.
I can find a lot of roots.
And yeah, you can choose
You
to
find the mother lode, turnips for days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
up root.
It's Yom Kippur. You have to fast.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, and you can take half and you can make it a fairly comfortable living. It's not a subsistence living, so
Yeah.
you can actually live in the woods as comfortably with your survival skills as you can, being a person inside. So go ahead and roll me that survival check.
Hey, 15.
This is a total?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a success. So you are able to provide yourself with a fairly
Hearty meal.
comfortable living for the time being. Yeah, you can make a hearty meal. I assume you're going to come back in for the beds and
Yeah.
whatnot with the sleeping.
This is just so I don't have to eat exclusively turnip porridge for the night.
Well, there's not.
There's a river.
There's like a river. You can find some mushrooms. You can find some fish.
Exclusively
you can,
turnips. There's still going to be turnips. I just don't want exclusively turnips.
Turnip
That's fair.
porridge.
You're able to
turnip
turn up
greens,
enough other.
turnip
He's gonna fillet the fish.
You
put
found a
some
trout.
garlic
Fillet
on
the
it.
turnip.
Put it over a fire.
grilled turnip.
I mean, it's
smoked
doing. It's honestly
turnip.
with forager, it is a surprisingly
Boiled
good job. It's
stewed.
a
It's that scene
comfortable
from Forrest
living, so
Gump
it's
where
just the
Shrimp.
same
Yeah.
as living in town.
Gumbo.
Yeah.
Shrimp
So-
salad.
Over the course of the next couple of hours, when are you returning back to the feed mill? Just you just gonna go out and eat and then come back? You just don't want to eat their food?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would show up. I don't know how.
I'd probably be gone for
3 hours.
3 hours.
Um.
Searching for food.
8
cooking
is
it.
the absolute minimum to subsist. I will let you, with your forager feat, do it in half the time for just a subsistence living. Sure.
Okay, I'll just come back for bed.
Okay,
I'll-
so
I'll
you'll
just-
come
I'll
back. You'll
eat.
come back later when the sun goes down, basically. Over the next few hours, the rest of you that are in the tavern would see a trickle of other farmers coming in, their various pairs or small groups, to drink and possibly get a meal as the evening wears on. And along with that, as it gets closer to the sunset, another set of 2 workers, 2 servers come in, a man and a woman, who just start assisting as Delma starts to basically exclusively tend bar. There's never that many people inside. At most, there's 2 dozen farmers as it comes close to sundown. and Bort, Ulf, and Oof make their way in as well.
I'll attempt to gather information passively with the reed lips.
I will
Whenever I go
attempt
back
to
out.
hobnob.
Okay, so what does hobnobbing do?
So what it lets me do is it lets
Hobbing
me gather information at half the rate, usually about an hour to use the gather information
You
skill.
definitely have that much time.
And because I'm a lesser noble, a lesser scion, people react well to me.
Okay.
And because I have bardic lore, I can generally make good conversation on almost any subject just because I have such a wide
Okay.
education.
Well, what do you
so,
want to gather information?
So I want to
on?
get an idea, not directly because obviously broaching that kind of information on somebody is really creepy, but just whether or not anyone has seen any weird behavior in animals around here lately.
The acid-spewing wolf beasts.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't
More or
want to
less.
say the acid spewing wolf beast. I want to just get a sense whether or not anyone has seen any strange.
Anything, really. Anything
But also
unnatural.
to hear the history of the Plaguestone, because that was really interesting and I've never heard of it before.
Okay.
And it's the history of this town, and I'll tell them that I'm a bard and a seeker of history and a writer of songs, and I wouldn't mind writing a song about their town.
So go ahead and roll me a diplomacy check then, and see what we find out.
That's a nat 20, so
Okay.
a 26.
Definitely, yeah, you learned whatever you want about this, really. So just talking around to some of the farmers, none of them have really had anything like that, nothing out of the ordinary. It's not super uncommon, just because we are pretty far out in Nowheresville, to deal with the occasional wolf, but
Right.
nobody in the town really keeps livestock,
So they really have no reason to
other than
go.
like chickens.
go in.
Which, yeah, so they don't even really bother the town much. It's usually just they're around sometimes.
Like labor animals, maybe like donkeys or mules to pull plows, or
They probably don't have that
Probably
money.
don't even have that. Yeah.
No.
wow,
this
they
is-
just plow by hand. Holy
This is
crap!
hand plow turnip farmers
That's
right now.
intense.
It is the bad times. They are, and it's not. It's a really, really poor town. So yeah, I don't even think they have labor. Like one or two people might have a donkey to pull a plow, but not most. Most of them are hand tilling a field.
Wow.
They
It's,
probably have some of the broken down plows from back in the day, but
It's a truly unpleasant experience. But other than the occasional wolf sighting, just kind of around, they don't interact much with the wildlife at all. Some of them hunt to bring back more or deer for meals,
Just
of course.
subsistence stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
just subsistence, and then none of them have really seen anything out of the ordinary. But they will happily tell you their hunting stories of their gigantic buck or their 90-pound trout they caught in the river, which you're positive are not exaggerated at all. As far as the Plaguestone goes, the only thing you can really learn about it, they don't talk. Like, some of them don't care, some of them are largely unbothered, but they don't know a whole lot about other than it's just on face purpose. When the plague hit Isker and it hit Entrance Folly pretty particularly hard, there were a lot of people infected very quickly and a lot of people dying. Well over half the town ended up passing away. So immediately, they never had like a cleric or a church or anything. The best they had was a couple of people that had any semblance of magical knowledge. There was a witch that used to live in the town that some of them will claim probably brought the plague, which you pick up as you easily just glaze as superstition. They have no reasoning behind it really. But that was literally the only magic they had access to, and she, if she could do anything, didn't. And the Plaguestone was to prevent the infected from interacting with anybody else. It wasn't filled with water. It was nothing but holy water. They left food there.
Oh,
So the
that's
sick
okay.
would just come get it, leave what coin or payment they had on her system, and not have to go into the feed mill, not have to go near anybody else, not have to risk exposing anyone.
Okay.
Now, a couple of them with that critical success would tell you that it was kind of an interesting and somewhat ingenious setup, actually, that the hole in the center did just dropped into a barrel full of bleach and vinegar to purge any trace of sickness from the coins as well. So when they were gathered, they wouldn't have to be exposed.
Interesting.
But no weird animal sightings.
Okay.
Nothing of the sort, really.
Martin, can I get you something?
Ah,
Are you feeling better?
much actually. I have to say, your goddess has empowered you mightily.
Saren Ray always brings light to where there is darkness.
Tell me about Saren Ray. She sounds like a good person to know.
She is actually fantastic. I'll have you know that when we were in missionary school, that she taught.
Missionary school is funny.
Yeah, she
Excuse
knows a lot
me?
about the missionary position. He'll say completely straight-faced.
Oh, what's the missionary position?
Don't worry about it. Continue your story, my love.
Oh, okay. So in missionary school, I'm really curious. What is missionary?
It's
You-
the
you-
only way to do something right.
You've completely derailed the entire lesson. I'm trying to learn.
So am I.
I don't believe you.
Continue, my light.
What were we talking about?
Saren Ray. Your
Saren
goddess.
Ray. Oh, right.
What?
Right.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, right. Okay. So Saren Ray is like, she's all about redemption. So people who really are looking to better themselves and really trying to stand up and be the person they really need to be. Saren Ray is all about redemption and forgiving forgiving people who have been through things. They really just need someone
To deliver them.
to deliver them. I'm not sure quite deliver them. Maybe lead them in the correct direction. But she was really about. She's really just.
I will ask you more about her. She sounds like someone I'd be interested in knowing more about.
So, are you gonna do this? This is something you, I'm sure, could talk about literally forever.
I could probably.
While you're here in the tavern, just waiting. And everyone is as everyone's gathered, and some people have started to order food, and meals have started to come from the kitchen. Flonk has begun to play his beautiful music, not either remembering that he offered to have you assist or not ready for that quite yet. And beautiful music is a great stretch. And around then, Rogish would arrive in the tavern as well.
By the way, I have a piece of paper that smells like meat on my back.
Okay.
Tried to dress my wounds.
Rogue comes down and tried to dress his wounds himself with me. Very clearly tried to dress his wounds himself. Didn't go spectacularly, and now he just smells like an incredible drunkard at this point. But that would fit in largely with the tavern as more and more of the farmers come in and it starts to fill, and the two servers flit about with an older woman, a very large, not like fat, just physically enormous and tall woman would come from the back occasionally, laying large trays of food down. The two servers would come and grab and spread throughout the room.
She looks interesting.
How's that porridge?
Well, Bort would come in just as you're starting to wonder if he's gonna come cover the food as he offered. Bort would come in the door, look around, see the group of you, and just raise a hand and wave excitedly like the small little dwarf he is and totter over as Ulf and Oof come in behind him. And fortunately, they would make their way over to the corner where the first drunken farmer had been still sleeping off whatever, and Ulf would just slap him on the back. Eat him! It's time for cards! Screaming in his ear, and the farmer would very slowly pick his head up and look.
The eyes the glass just breaks as his eyes open.
Clearly just waking up, and Ulf and Oof laugh, pull out their old folded deck, lay it on the table, and start counting out silver pieces. Bort hurries over to the group of you five and sits down. Good, excellent, just as the food's prepared and ready. I promised you all these to dinner, and it's the least I owe you for the services you've given me and my men today. I don't know if it would have made it here. I don't know what that beast was. I heard the sound. What happened? Wolf told me.
Master Filippo tells the story best.
It was an unnatural beast. It came from the woods, smelling like offal and rotted corpses.
Like awful.
Not awful, as in the discarded remnants of one's dinner. Offal.
All right. I'll take your word for this one. This is Dwarven.
It's special dwarven terminology. It's okay.
I'm not.
It's a
Has it
cultural
really been
thing.
so long since I've been home?
Indeed.
I need to write my father at least. Oh, it's been a minute. Continue. Sorry. It's just a distraction. Leave it to you.
He spit breath of acid, and he nearly burned my compatriots alive. But our brave friend here interceded on our behalf, and with his halberd glinting in the sun, he smote the wolf, chopping him nearly in two. My blade merely pricked him and did him the final damage, but it was his bravery that saved us all. You owe your thanks mostly to him.
You forgot about that section that he almost died to him too.
We
At
were
least it's
Can you
not
tell?
a dwarven this time
Yeah.
when he's interjecting.
No.
In common for once.
Yes.
This.
I was
this is
grievously injured.
You
This is
weave a
true.
good tale, lad. One I don't believe I've heard such quality since I was back home. Certainly better than whatever this bard, he points over to Flonk in the other room, singing away off tune. You're not even sure if he's singing the same song he's playing or if it's just that bad. But it reminds me, last time I was up near home, traveling the roads up in the Five Kings Mountains, would you believe that a beast 10 times my size, one of the fire giants. I didn't know they still resided in the region at all. I thought they'd all went up and left the place. When I was out, answering nature's call during a break, came upon me and took me back to their camp. They were going to eat me alive. These giants, barbaric, sentient enough that the knowledge to have their language and their whatever culture, but eating men they find from the road. So I was alone. Ulf and Ulf hadn't hired him, met him yet by then, and my caravan was off in the distance, probably wondering where I was missing, but no guide other than sometimes the call takes a minute to answer, if you catch me. But
Of course.
this,
More fiber would help.
I had an idea. I convinced this giant, the one who was preparing the cauldron, to seek this herb that grows out. I'm familiar with a frost bloom. Grows up in the mountains. I told them it was a spicy sort. They seemed to be interested in that. I kind of figured that a giant would want to fire these volcanic creatures would like something similar in their food, and they bought it. He added it to the mix, and only then he went to taste it. He froze his mouth shut in an instant, and I was able to escape in the confusion and make my way back to the caravan. It was a similar kind of tale.
Indeed.
Your encounter with the fire giants, I assume you don't take that same route anymore. I
Oh,
doubt
no,
they
that
fall
was-
for the same trick twice.
That was back up in the homelands, back up in the Five Kings Mountains, not these back roads through Isger.
Your tale, it is invigorating. It gives me faith that our race will yet continue to claim it their homeland once more.
It was just a stroke of luck and a quick bit of thinking.
That's what heroism is, friend.
Well, it worked for me in that time. I don't know if it makes me much of a hero, but I still think about it sometimes.
How could you not?
Closest I've ever been to death. Aside from that time I met Pharasma.
I was going to say.
And that other tale, the corpses walking in the graveyard, and that one time
When
with
they
the
killed your
druid
dog.
and the beads.
Yeah.
But aside from those, I lived a life fraught with peril. I took up this merchantry, driving a caravan up to Isker, taking people and goods out back and forth to Andorran, thinking it'd be a bit safer. But after today, after whatever that beast was, I'm looking forward to this courage. And he raises a hand. Tren! Here, I'm orders! And the younger girl that had showed up to serve her comes over and curtsies briefly. Oh, welcome back to town, boy. It's been a minute. 2 months almost since I've seen you here. And he nods. Aye, us. I'm covering for all me travelers here. They've done a good service for me. And I'll start off with a loaf and whatever the meat today. Delma mentioned a boar. And she smiles and nods. Aye, the hunters had brought back a good boar, and I can't remember which farm it was brought it in, but you pay good coin and have a good meal for your caravan while they're in town. I'll get some plates out for the lot of you. You got any,
Thank you, lass.
No, of course. Name's Train. Just give me a holler if you need anything.
More mead, please.
Then she puts up a hand. I'll make sure to step in with the bar and bring you back more drinks as well.
What a sweet lass. Is
You made it in.
Yeah.
Good
Just
thing.
in time for dinner.
Just in time for dinner. Boar. Can you imagine if we had to eat nothing but turnips all night?
Luckily, none of us will have to. Until, I can actually lay a small bag of things that I collected for myself.
Sort
to
of
eat.
mushrooms and herbs and your own seasonings.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks eclectic.
And Train,
Better than nothing but turnips.
As she turns, she catches sight of this and says, "Oh, that's a quite interesting sort. You found that out around the outskirts of town? Where'd you learn that from? We don't. I haven't seen much half orcs coming through here much. There don't seem to be much Nandarin nor up here in Eastgard. Where are you from? Are you Chelish?
Unfortunately, I'm out not from any particular town. I had my own monastery of sorts
a sad tune as he starts to speak.
And
where I would teach martial arts.
she's not laughing. I'm laughing.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to go into the, where I was from because he's not from a particular place.
Well, now
So,
that she's strumming, you have to tell your history. It's to encourage you.
That is the history. Cheliax is a piece of shit and he's leaving.
And she
They took his landed property. They were going to take him.
puts a hand up and shakes her hand. I ain't mean to pry, sir. I apologize. I'm not
It's a touchy subject. It's
looking to
okay.
bring up any kind of dark memories of the past. I'll fetch you orders now. The food out shortly. Amora's put in good work on this one. You won't be disappointed. And she heads into the back. And true to her word, she comes back out a couple of minutes later with another round of ales, which Bort is also glad to cover, and an assortment of thin, fatty, thick rather, large, thick, just fatty hunks of roast boar meat, alongside whatever a turnip loaf is. It's
Being
kind
avoided
of
by me
bread.
like the plague.
But it almost just looks like a purplish, doughier loaf of bread that she lays down and slices out, and Bort takes
Actually
a slice.
sounds like
It's
it'd
not,
be interesting to try.
they're not super interested in it. He keeps just maintaining, we wait for the porridge and dessert comes out. Half the reason we come through here, I tell you.
Aside from the lovely company, I would imagine.
Now, your goddess herself would come back down for this one.
He's probably on his third or fourth ale by now, so it's probably all fine. He's not being too
I mean,
picky.
none of it's awful. It's all fairly well cooked food. It's just
It just
Simple.
doesn't sound
What it is.
appealing.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
This one has a
very
mystery to it.
simple.
There isn't anything out of the ordinary happening while we're having our libations, so is there?
of
Not
drunk
really. There's a
people.
bunch of other people in here also eating and drinking. There's an assortment of farmers, about 2 dozen coming in for the day to join the ranks of the couple that had trickled in at first. But nothing super out of the ordinary, no.
Nothing, any useful information that they're saying whatsoever?
They mostly seem to be just talking about, if not their harvest, then their wives and their fishing. It's absolutely nothing of interest. It is the least of interest and talk that has ever happened anywhere ever.
This is the kind of place where you hear.
Exactly that. And Ulf and the first drunk farmer Elam off in the corner aren't the only ones gambling. As a good number of these tables broken into card and dice games with some betting going on. And as the dinner, as it really starts to fill up, the goblin comes back in to assist with the serving as well, carrying the platters up over his head with both hands as they're nearly the size of his entire body, but doing his best. The only thing of note I would suppose is that the first man never shows back up, that larger man doesn't come back in. He doesn't seem to be a huge fan of company.
Scar Eye guy?
Yeah, Scar Eye. He doesn't seem to be terribly interested in interacting with people more than he has to. But before too long, the large woman, the cook, who's been bringing out the meals, opens the door with a massive bowl and just calls out over everyone, "Porridge is ready!" and sets it down on the counter. And a whole bunch of the farmers immediately raise a hand, and Bort waves both his little dwarven arms over his head and starts pointing to Trin, the server, again, and calling out, "Hey, Trin! Get us!" and Trin, the one other male server who came in, and the goblin both start ladling out big bowls and bringing them out to the majority of the tables as quickly as they can.
Is the male server cute?
He's pretty quiet. He seems much more your worker type. He's here to do his job. From what you've seen him going around the rest of the tables, I mean, he's fairly short with a huge mustache and a balding head. He doesn't look terribly old, so like he's not super cute, but he's not awful. He's got an alright face. He's like a 6.
This isn't men describing something.
We're not in like, I don't know what pretty people or marginally
It's okay, I'll
people
think about
look
it
like.
later.
Okay, it's a thing you can consider. You can think about it at a later occasion. But as the
I will attempt to ask, as she's pouring and everything, I'm going to ask her, there was a man over here earlier with a scar on his face. Do you know anything about him?
and Trin furrows his brow a bit. Oh, yeah, that's hello. He's not a super friendly sort, really.
Does he have a tragic past?
I don't know nothing about his past. He's lived here, grown up here. I'm not a big fan of interacting with people he don't already know. He kind of keeps to himself and his friends.
I can relate.
And at that moment, you hear a yell from the other side of the room as the original drunk farmer Elam stands up with this turnip ale spilled over his front. And the server guy, the quiet one, standing there with his hands up, apologizing. And Elam just yells out, "You damn shit! Pay attention where you're going!" and punches the kid in the face. And he
that's
reels
not
back
good.
into a table full of men playing a dice game right as they roll, and flips the table over, and the dice go across the floor. And this very much upsets these men, who start looking over for the cause of this. Elam tips his table over in a drunken rage. The men around at the dice table aren't really sure what direction this server came from, and just kind of take a swing at whoever's nearby as Elam chucks a mug past across the room, hitting someone nearby you. And in just a few moments,
That seems
Have
like
I
it's
had
gonna be.
my porridge yet?
it's there, but you
We
haven't
eaten
tried it yet.
This is a perfect excuse to not have the porridge and to leave the room.
Well, leaving's gonna be a little difficult because this pretty rapidly in seconds escalates.
It's a bar fight.
to
I already know. I
the
recognize it. I'm a
olden
rogue.
Bar fight. The rogue knows. The
Oh,
rogue
boy.
knows once these things have
Yeah.
begun that it's basically impossible to avoid.
I'm gonna go try to
Like,
pull the
here we
server
go
out
again.
of the scrum.
I think we've got.
I think this is definitely
I
an
suspect.
initiative roll we're gonna be having go on here.
Is it really?
It is
Yeah.
definitely yes.
I'm the
For
slowest
sure.
rogue ever.
And I'm just gonna add in 3 copies of random.
I'm at the end, by the way. It doesn't matter.
All of us are just kind of like, we're
That's
eating
something.
and we're just kind of looking up. It's like, no. No.
Please
no,
no, I want to
damn
try
it.
the porridge. And
16.
it doesn't seem, you don't get the feeling that the farmers here are trying in any way to prevent this from escalating, as this is about the best source of entertainment they get in any given time.
Right.
I'm
Good
not
old
gonna
bar
use any
brawls, just there.
Good if
That's a
you're
bar
not
fight.
murder people.
You have 16 again?
Yeah,
Cool.
that's what I do.
Marn,
Marn has a 12.
how about Adelpha?
18?
He takes
18 again.
wants to take a bite of that.
We're very
porridge.
predictable as dwarves.
Yeah, you two have gotten exactly the same one twice.
9s or 9s.
Elreath.
11 to 11?
8.
Oh, you got lower. And roll geese.
13.
Wow, you guys are super bad at this
A
game.
toll is a toll, and a roll is
You
a
know, if
roll.
we had to screw up an initiative,
This
I'm
I mean,
glad
this is
the
pretty,
one.
we did well on the
pretty
walls
alright
and
one to screw up,
poorly
I
in the
suppose.
bar
Did you
fight.
say a bar fight where everyone's using their hands and fists?
Oh boy. Everyone's a little beaten
He's
up,
a monk.
except for these
And
3
I'm a
farmers
monk.
who have their skulls staved in. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
I don't know what the hell happened.
I mean, to
Shit
be fair,
went
I
down.
can do non-lethal.
So as soon as this all erupts and you feel like it is going to be wholly impossible to avoid getting embroiled in this, immediately fists are swung in your direction.
Oh boy.
Other than a couple of the people near the other, well, it's kind of a mixture throughout the room. Some people are legitimately mad, some people are just having a good time with this. But your table is pulled into this very, very rapidly. And I'm just going to roll random. One swing gets directed at Adelpha.
Can I try to cover her?
I'm gonna be really annoyed if someone hits her.
I will let you try to throw yourself.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've got attack
That's
of
fine.
opportunity too if I have to.
You do have
but
attack of
I'm just
opportunity.
gonna try to keep her.
Yeah, I'm gonna step
Okay,
in.
I'll
She's
let
the
you.
weak one. I'll take
you
it.
see this coming and throw yourself in the way. You'll take this one. One's gonna get thrown at Elreath,
Good. The pretty elf needs to get punched
and
in the
they
face.
are
Oh
just
my god.
swinging some fists. So Elreath, does a 13 hit you?
No.
Drunken Farmer's not particularly accurate, and Mar, unfortunately, still in his breastplate, does his or whatever. armor you
Male,
have.
I think.
Male
so,
chainmail.
Yeah.
Does a 16 hit you?
A 16 does not. It'll.
A
Just,
16 probably hits you.
it
but
hits
I mean,
me,
you're
but
armored.
it's like
You throw
you're
yourself in the way
male
and
and
you
a
take
padded
this,
Gambison. I'm okay.
and you're at worst mildly irritated. So that brings us down to Adelpha, as Elreath just threw himself in the way. Immediately as you see him take this punch for you, you see the goblin throw his hands up with the 2 bowls of porridge he had, drop them on the ground, and run screaming out the front door. You get screaming, I want to get thrown again!
Poor thing.
Poor thing. So I throw up my hands and compose yourselves. Like this is barbaric. And I'm going to dazzling flash a cone for all the people that are in line.
All you guys are screwed.
So that's a 17.
There's no, you don't hit roll on that. That's
I
a,
don't?
That's an
Okay.
area. They have to make a
Okay,
save
okay,
of
okay.
some sort.
So that's a DC 17.
DC 17. I'm just gonna roll, I don't know, 3 roll saves. That guy fails. That guy fails. That guy passes. So, what happens? What does Dazzling Flash do?
Okay, so if they pass, they're dazzled for 1 round. If they fail, they're blinded for
Alright, so
1 round.
You shoot past Marn where he's bodied this hit for you, and you
Nice
blind.
of you not to catch me.
You blind a group of farmers, and one of them is already turning from some other punch and just catches the edge of it. He looks like he's blinking a light out of his eyes. He probably saw Sarenrae for a moment, but he does seem to mostly have his composure.
Who just looked disappointed.
He does just look
Not
genuinely
angry,
disappointed.
just disappointed.
Now, here, the whole common area of the feed mill is just chaos and mayhem. People are shouting, mugs are being thrown. You are basically surrounded by drunken farmers. And at least a good chunk of the ones near you are blind now. But getting out to the door is going to be challenging. Functionally moving through here at all is going to be at half speed. And you're a good 40 feet from the door. Because
Would you consider this
everything here
difficult terrain?
is exactly difficult terrain, yes.
Hey,
So that's
Mr.
2
Fancy
actions.
Feet. Fancy
Okay,
feet don't
I
care.
was hoping a really bright light and a big flashy spell would stop
It
people.
stopped a lot of people,
I mean, it was hammer time.
but there's like 20-something people in here drunk and
It was a
mostly brawling.
15-foot cone. That was a really big
Yeah,
spell.
it's like a 40-foot common area.
Okay,
It's
well,
pretty-
I
you-
guess.
you flashed most of the people in your general vicinity.
I mean, you took off
I
your
guess-
clothes and stuff happened.
I'd say there's like 3 of them that are close enough that are actively a threat to you, and 2 of them are now completely blind.
Oh, okay. Okay, I guess they're all drunk, so I don't know if I can like diplomacy anybody. So I throw out this spell, and I stand here and catch Marn on my lap because I'm probably sitting.
Just sitting here trying to eat your porridge. Screw you guys.
Doing it.
Oh, we don't
there's
have
no-
we don't have a battle map for this because it's not particularly relevant. It's
That's
just
fair.
a bar fight. The whole room is full of drunk farmers, and you want to move a distance towards the door. The positioning is largely irrelevant here. So that is going to bring us down to Filippo, who you see another one of the farmers who is the one that did not get blinded, who's blinking the light out of his eyes. turning to aim a fist towards wherever that came from, indiscriminately towards these two.
I'll kind of pull on the scruff of his neck, pull on the scruff of his shirt to pull him back from hitting her.
You can try to grab him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
the thing
grab
you can
him.
do. Yeah, that's just an athletics check.
Okay.
Versus, I believe they're 42 DC. Okay.
That's gonna be a 15.
15, you'll do it. He winds up and you grab onto him and pull him back away before he goes swinging at the cute little dwarven cleric, or Marn has suffered enough today. So you have him grabbed now, which means he's immobilized. He can.
Oh, good.
He can't move, but he's flat-footed and he can still attack. But he's not going anywhere.
And then I'm actually going to throw up a light spell to try to get people's attention. And I'm going to start a performance. So in every fantasy game, there's a song like Tinker Tanner or like 95 bottles of beer on the wall that everyone kind of knows, and if you start singing it and you're good enough,
So
you can maybe get them
You
to
grab
sing
this guy, step up on the table, cast the light spell, and start singing 95 bottles of beer on the wall.
Yes, I do.
So the bar fight's gonna have a rhythm now.
Yes, it is.
That is
It's
how
gonna
this is
be
gonna work.
awesome.
It's great.
Alright, this sounds like a good plan. You
I said
have
not to overdo it.
you have grabbed this guy, but he is still confused and swinging out in rage.
And he's swinging at someone.
These hands are going out in indiscriminate directions. Does a 19 hit Adelpha?
19. Yes.
Then you are going to catch an errant fist, and he is going to punch you for 4 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
All right, that's enough of that
He's
nonsense.
gonna
Please give
swing
him a black eye.
towards Marn, and definitely doesn't hit Marn. And then he's gonna have the thought, "Who the hell's grabbing onto me?" and try to escape the grab wall and try to break out the grab. That didn't land flat. And he's not gonna do that either. He's just swinging. He's mad. This bar taking onto him, and he's having no success getting away. Roll Geesh, and Marn, you're on deck.
Have I been directly disturbed yet?
No.
No.
You have not.
I'm just going to drink my ale.
He's just gonna sit there.
I'm just
drink.
watching.
Like, and everyone's having a good time. All right, Marn and Elraith, you're on deck.
All right, so you took a hit. That's no good. Marn's real upset about that. He was trying to keep you out of it. So what Marn's going to do is he's just going to get up, flip the bar bench up into his arms, and just freaking bull rush into the entire crowd just to knock them all away
Okay.
from our table.
Awesome.
It's
you
a
want
good
to try a
thing.
shove.
Yeah,
You
it's a
wanna
good
try
thing
a-
I picked up the ale right before you did that.
Yeah, he picks up the ale and you pick up a chair and swing it over and start trying to push everyone out of the way.
No, like the whole bench. Like I
Oh,
picked
the
the whole
entire bench,
bench
fair
up,
enough.
and I'm just running. I'm just like, no. I'm enough of all of you.
Like, I'm tired of this already.
You're fighting on that side of the bar room now.
All right, so you are going to attempt
keep
to
getting more
shove,
attractive
and I'll let
to
you
me.
just shove to kind of make space around Adelpha and Rolgeesh here. So give me an athletics check.
That is a 17.
Out of 17, you will succeed, and that pushes the drunken brawlers back 5 feet away. And I'm assuming you want to move with that. You can either just shove them and stay where you are,
I'm
or
gonna
you
keep
can
pushing next round too.
You can
That's what I
just keep
doing.
pushing now. It's one action. You can
Boom,
just
let's
keep,
do it.
It has the attack tag, so it is a -5.
Ooh,
Just keep-
natural
doesn't even
20.
matter.
That's a 22.
All right,
With
well,
a hard 20.
22, you're gonna critically succeed. So you push. Once you get some momentum, you really shove them, and you get them 50. You've pushed them like halfway in the center of the tavern, clearing out a huge area. You've bowled over the 2 blinded farmers who are now just laying on the ground trying to protect themselves. No idea what the hell's happening.
23
They're probably
patrons
prone
smashed
now.
into the
You got
wall.
one action
23
left.
patrons.
The last action, I'm just gonna throw the bench into the middle of them, and then just dust my hands.
Elrid.
I'm pretty sure nobody's close to me now.
They're not a fairly large swath of people, yes.
How many pockets can you pick in one round?
And as we come around to you, Delma, who's been working as the bartender, the owner.
I don't see anything worthwhile with pickpocket.
There's nothing worthwhile in this entire
Puts
bar.
whatever mug she had, just puts it down on the counter, and yells out, "I'ma fetch the sheriff!" And starts heading towards the back door behind the counter, and also leaves. And you see the older man from before. You just barely see, he kind of slides on the edge of everything and just slips out the front with his mug, not wanting to deal with all this shit.
I do believe we're gonna have ourselves some more company.
I'm
Shall
gonna
we?
stare at them all, go back, pick up my porridge, and just
Oh, they're
eat.
definitely still fighting. It's still a thing.
That's
Just like,
fine.
you want to do anything?
Probably not.
So the two
I mean,
blinded,
there's nobody that's
Yeah.
close to me over
the
there.
two blinded guys that have been bowled over now, blinded and prone on the ground, and are like feeling around, just trying to defend themselves, no idea what's
It
going
wouldn't
on.
be very diplomatic of me to.
The one that you,
When has that stopped you
the one
before?
the one that you pushed back and just kind of dropped the thing and closed your hands. He's still dazzled. And he holds his hands up. He's mad, and he comes back after you, swinging hard with a fist.
Okay,
And,
this
first
guy's
of all,
no, all right.
he's got a 20% miss chance because he's dazzled, which he does spectacularly. And the light blinding him, he just swings, and Mad reaches down, picks up the bench, and swings that at you. And also still have miss chance, and he misses that one too. Misses both from the dazzled. He just hits the two blinded guys on the ground. He's just grown out in pain. He can't see anything. This dude's functionally blinded. Adelpha. And brings us to Filippo on deck.
I reach up and pat at my lip where blood is starting, and I'm like,
So angry.
and I start like sniffling, and I'm going to try and.
Burning hands the entire bar.
Don't burn down the bar.
No.
All right, Carrie, that's enough.
Maybe.
Okay, I may start like I'm gonna start tearing a little bit, and is the path to where the door was, where the lady just left, where the owner? Is that like clear,
That's
or
the
is
back.
that?
That's closer, but it's still going to be about 20 feet of difficult terrain away from you. Because you're kind of
Okay.
off to the side in the corner. You're not super close to either door.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I could triple move over there. I guess. Triple move. I can triple move
You
over
can
there.
move to the difficult terrain. You can do that. So every square is 10 feet. So what's your speed? 25, 20?
20.
So you can move 10, 20. You can get to that door. You can get to that door and open it to move through.
Okay.
And as you do that, before you go, Bort stands up as tall as he can. His little dwarf pulls himself. Hey, everybody just... And a chair hits him in the face and knocks him out immediately. And he just rolls down on the ground unconscious. Filippo. And then it's going to be Rolgish. How long does that blind last, by the way?
I take it that I
The
can't
blinded
intervene.
is 1 round, and then the dazzled for 1 minute.
Okay, so the blinded guys are getting their vision back on
Yeah.
the ground.
Our employer just got knocked unconscious. He's probably meeting
I
with
was-
Plasma again.
Well, I wasn't doing anything. I said I guess I can't intervene.
If you want to, yeah. If you're just holding, you can absolutely just go ahead and step in here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because you and Rolgish are definitely both just holding right now. You can
I'm not even holding. That was my
He's
turn.
holding
Just-
his porridge.
he's just drinking. This is stupid.
This is the best show I've had all night.
Yeah, I'm just there to make sure to. So what I got to do, like acrobatics or something,
For what?
to
You-
try to make sure he doesn't get knocked out cold.
Intervene the
Bort?
chair, swinging
Yeah.
at Bort's head.
He's getting hit from the other side. He's already unconscious. You can make a medicine check.
May as well. Let me go make sure he's still alive.
Drag him away.
Yeah, and that's 13.
Yeah, so with 13, you kneel down and spend 2 actions checking out, making sure he's okay. He looks like he's fine. He just got hit square in the jaw, and that chair just knocked him out cold immediately.
Okay.
He's perfectly fine. He's in no danger of dying. He's got nothing more than probably won't feel good in the morning, but that's about it.
Yeah, all right. That's all. Just want to make sure that our boss is okay.
Filippo,
So
you want to get paid. Boss can't be dead.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna wait till the next time the guy I'm holding on by his collar tries to pull away from me.
So at your turn, you let him go. 'Cause
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna let him
ground
go.
Yeah, great. Okay. I'm just making sure you knew the mechanic.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm gonna let him go. And I'm gonna jump down from the table where I was on, and I'm actually gonna cover her retreat to make sure that no one comes up behind her so that she can leave and get out of the room. And if anything does come up from behind her, I'm gonna make sure it hits me and not her.
Okay, fair enough. And you use your move action to kind of try to get toward that door,
Yeah.
door as well. And the one that I blind on the ground comes to, and it's you moving by and Marn. And it's going to be a total 50-50 on who he hits. It's going to be Marn again. He's mad. You're there.
Come on.
He's going
piece of shit.
Come at me, bro.
He's going to stand up, which provokes if you want to punch him.
Heck yeah, no, I'm just gonna. No.
You just clock him as he's getting up off the ground.
He tries to get up. I'm just gonna smack him back down. That's 15.
15 will definitely hit.
Desna protects.
This is
This
unarmed.
is an unarmored
This is
farmer.
D4.
So unarmed by default is D4 plus strength.
I'll take it.
You're strong.
Yeah, it's all strength. It's 5 damage.
So you punch this guy for 5 damage.
And I'm just gonna go stay down.
He ain't staying down. He's mad.
Yeah, right.
He's if anything, he is just determined to at least give you the what for back. So he stands up and he's gonna take a swing at you. Ooh, 24.
Oh, that'll actually catch me on the jaw.
He's gonna stand up and punch you right back. And he's gonna hit you for 5 as well.
5?
That's the
4
first
actually.
Oh, jeez.
smart farmer who didn't aim for the armor.
Yeah, he stands up, he punches you right in the jaw, and then he's just gonna try to give you another one. And that's gonna be a 16, no, 17 because it's agile.
Right in the mail.
And the second one he follows up and just hits right into a male or a pauldron. So as we go to Roll Geese, who's just sitting there drinking. Are you still just drinking?
I've not been disturbed
Roll
yet.
Geese is just sitting there enjoying his beverage, and you look around, and you
This
see.
is the party of the evening. I'm having fun.
Yeah, you see the one.
This is like a half orc, party.
Exactly.
Yeah, the one server, the guy who started the whole thing, just kind of curled up in the corner, and the drunk Elam is mostly just yelling at him at this point. He's not really swinging anymore. He just slaps him a bit, but he's not really doing anything important. Trin, the other server, who is the only one of the staff who is left in the room at this point, is near the front door and just is holding up a tray in front of her face, just kind of cowering, and she peeks up and gets one of the glass turnip bugs right across the eye, and she immediately yells out in pain and just runs out the front door as well. So the only one of the staff left in here is the dude just getting paraded in the corner. But Marn, that's background to you.
Alright. This is like...
And you got two men now in the middle of the room that are very focused on fighting you at this point. You have one who you have thoroughly pissed off, who was never blind in the first place. The other one who's well, he's taking swings at you because you hit him. You picked a 2v1.
6 of one, half dozen of the
6 one,
other.
half dozen of another. Let's see here. I guess I really shouldn't start killing people. It's generally frowned upon. Apparently there's a sheriff in this town.
Let's just leave.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I have the presence of mind? I'm really mad at this guy.
What are you doing? What's your reaction?
Make a
In
wisdom.
the 6-second round of combat.
Alright, I'm just gonna haymaker this guy. I gotta at least knock this guy out.
You're honored to be insane.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a swing and just literally just haymaker.
Just hit him as hard as you can.
Just hit him in
The
the
guy
hit
you
him as-
already hit or the other guy? The guy,
Who's the guy who just hit me?
the guy you hit.
I'm totally
The other
just
dude is
gonna-
also there drunk and kind of blind, and you pushed him over with the thing. But this is the guy that you're just in a slugfest.
I'm
right
just
now.
gonna
You hit
haymaker
him. He
this
stood up.
guy.
He hit you. He's a big fella.
Oh, yeah, let's make him a bit smaller. Power attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a 27.
That is absolutely a critical hit.
Okay, so I need more d4s.
It's basically non-lethal.
So power attack damage.
You can make them lethal.
No.
The minus, yeah, it's a -2, but you can.
Oh, I mean, I
I'm
don't.
sure you're not.
I want to
yeah.
beat him. I don't want to kill him.
Yeah.
We're not the murder bears.
So the extra die is from power attack, and I don't think I get extra strength bonus. I think it's just the die.
Power attack is an extra damage dice, yes.
Okay, perfect. So what do you get extra damage for?
Double that entire thing.
And so that's gonna go to 14 damage.
Okay, yeah, this dude tries to stand up. You hit him, stay down. He gets up and hits you, and you just knock him out. Just with one full strength blow, spin him around, and he just falls over on the ground.
At that point, I just walk back to the table.
That man is.
There's like 15 feet of clear ground. I'm just walking back to the table. I'm picking up my porridge.
Yeah, and as you move to walk away, one of the men, the blinded men that you'd bowled over on the ground close to the table, as you go to step over him, kind of wakes up and looks around and sees the fight is still happening and just swings it. This could be any of the three of you at complete random because you're all in the same general area. It's gonna be Martin again!
Just kick him. Just kick him.
No, it's like the John Wick of bar fights. He just wants you so bad.
There's a totally different person who got immediately blinded both over. Has no idea what happened.
They just want to beat up on the guy that has the
But
torn up
Martin
mail.
happens to be the
They want to punch the guy wearing a bunch of armor for some reason.
I don't know why, but he takes the
Let's
swing,
do it.
and with a 15, I'm sure he hits nothing.
Nope.
And then he is going to
Did he
reach out.
get the concealment?
Oh, that was the concealment. So he makes the concealment. That's right. And then they rolled a 24 actually. So he reaches up. He's low.
Thank you. You're welcome.
There's
Gotta make
not
sure
a
we
whole
follow
lot
the
that he
rules.
can reach from the ground that's gonna do actual damage in this fight.
Oh, God.
Stuff Fist goes exactly 7 points of damage.
Catches
So
me right in
where
the
you-
fucking groin.
Where it didn't go. As you're walking by, what's your fort DC? Which is 10 plus your fortitude save.
16.
The 16, he's going to try to grab your leg as you walk by. With a nat 20, he's going to grab on
This
and just
is-
swing up again.
The hero of the
And
bar fight right here.
That one with his, is going to miss from his dazzle. That one's going to miss totally as he's blinking stars out of his eyes. This dude,
this
you are
is
now
amazing.
grabbed and you're immobilized.
This is amazing. Okay.
And you are probably clutching your nuts in pain. Adelpha.
Thank
Okay.
you for those 3 ales. Take the edge off.
So
You're right
I
there at
get
the door.
yeah. So I can
So
open
you
the
can,
door,
you can head to the back, yeah.
and then I'm this very distressed looking young dwarf, I would say. And I'm gonna try and see where the woman went and if there's anybody like obvious that's like a
And as you
sheriff.
stick in, your head into the back here in the kitchens behind, you see that larger woman with a pot, and as you, the door, there's a door to the outside in the back that leads out towards the stables. It's just hanging open. You don't see any sign of Trin, the server, the young server girl. But the cook turns to you as you come in and just picks up like a tenderizing hammer and points it at you. I swear, don't you bring that back here.
But I'm just like really cute crying dwarf.
And then
That
she
looks
kind of
super.
realizes you're probably not here to fight. And she just didn't recognize you. And she's just like, I'm sorry, lass.
Fighting out there and
Delma's
they're like
the sheriff.
they're
no?
like they hit me and we weren't even doing anything. We were just eating.
And she just kind of holds her hands up. And just. You run over, and she just, you're a dwarf, and she's a huge, like, 6'3" woman. And she just kind of reaches down and pats you on the shoulder, still stirring this big pot up on the table, one hand. It's all right. It's. Roll will be here in a minute. They'll settle things. Don't worry.
But I've got my party and I don't know. I didn't even know. I didn't even know people could act like this.
All right.
So nobody's attacked me yet.
No,
I'm basically on the
this
floor.
fight is now immediately in front of you again. As this guy got pulled over
Marn has
immediately.
tried to protect
It's
you both.
still on the ground, hanging on to Marn's ankle, and just landed a solid hit to his groin. And Marn definitely felt that, and is not doing a super great job of sting. After that, probably.
All right. I guess maybe I should intervene in this thing over there. I'm gonna attempt to deceive him and say, "Hey, look at the wall."
He's pretty drunk, so I mean, really.
That's not gonna be much. That's 12.
I don't know.
That'll do it. He's pretty drunk. He just turns around and looks to the other side.
All right, I'll attempt to kidney punch him to knock him out.
You reached out to sock him in the kidneys.
Yeah, that's not gonna hit.
He's flat-footed, unarmored farmer. What'd you get?
Well,
And prone.
technically that would be it's 7.
Is it enough? I don't know.
It's actually really close.
That Yeah, I rolled a 3, so
Yeah,
that's,
prone.
I only get my dexterity to attack for unarmed, so.
Everybody is trained in unarmed.
Oh, okay.
Every character in the game is at least
Yeah,
trained.
trained
Even
in
wizards
Okay, well
are
then that
trained
would
in
get
unarmed.
another 3, so that'd
yeah,
be
that'd
10.
be a 10, and a 10 absolutely will hit
Okay.
the flat-footed prone man looking the other direction on the ground. So you kidney punch him.
You are bullying this drunk
D4
individual.
plus strength plus sneak attack.
Okay.
Hey, look at the wall.
D4, so that's 4 there, and the sneak attack is another 2, so it's 6 total.
Do you have any strength modifier or just a 6?
Oh no, that's the total.
Oh, okay,
6.
so 6 damage total. You hit this man for 6 damage, and he howls in pain, and you got 1 action left. You want to hit him again?
Hit him again!
Gotta try.
Hey, you know Ricky?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be what 22 because
Yeah.
minus 5.
Minus 4 because unarmed is
Okay, so
agile.
23.
Is that a nat 20?
No,
No,
it's 17, but
17,
that
okay.
might be
Yeah,
more
that's
than 10.
definitely a critical hit. So you hit him once, and he kind of curls up in pain, and you just wind up and stalk him.
Yeah, I'll just sock him across the face.
2d4 plus twice your strength plus d6.
Okay, so
That's a 4.
4, 6. So plus 2 for double strength, so that's 8, and then another 2, 10.
So you hit him again, and he just lays
Yeah,
down.
that one was
He
to
kind of
his
just curls
face.
up in the fetal position. That man is no longer fighting. That man is certainly
Thank you, my friend.
certainly done.
I'm gonna stagger back over to the table.
I'm like, that's not right. Getting punched in the dick.
That's not right.
Ortho,
I'm gonna finish your ale.
Is anyone?
you still have the one other guy that never got blind in the first place, who is still angrily coming towards the table as Martin goes.
He fucking wants some.
He wants it. Now he is accepting a personal challenge at this point. He's sitting there put down 2 of his friends, and he wants some of this guy in the armor.
At that point, I'm going to pick up with telekinetic projectile one of the pellets in my thing and chuck it full speed at the guy going toward the table.
Projectile non-lethally?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I mean, I'll give it.
It
a
says
-2.
slashing or
Those are all still lethal. Bludgeoning is still a lethal form of damage. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're shooting it like a bullet. I don't think you can.
bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing.
Yeah, those are all still lethal
That's
damage.
kill,
checks.
kill, or kill.
It's,
Yeah. Bludgeoning as in like a mace bludgeons somebody.
Yeah, because with that spell, you don't
Oh,
have a
okay.
speed between touch them with it and hit them with it like.
Well,
lethal
then I'll
damage.
just sling him normally, because I
Okay.
just have a sling.
Okay,
I can
so
just make it normal.
shoot a little slingshot.
I'm just gonna
pellet out.
salute a
So-
pellet at him.
Oh, it's like a hand sling, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's a hand
normal
sling.
pellet.
It's the kind of sling that
You
killed
If
Goliath.
nothing else,
you
maybe
know,
it'll
that
move
kind of
him over
sling.
in my direction and
Non-lethal.
get him away from the table.
You do take a penalty for
Non-lethally killed.
non-lethal or lethal, right?
Yeah, it's -2 for non-lethal.
That's
with
gonna
weapons, you
be
definitely can do it non-lethally.
16.
16 will hit him. Non-armored, drunken farmer fighting his way across the tap room.
That's gonna be 5 damage.
Ooh, it's a D6 now.
Yeah, and he'll get hit with a rock and to kind of hold one eye. He's already been blinded by the flash of light. He takes his rock in the eye, takes 5 more damage, he stumbles over towards the table.
Hey, back away!
He's still coming. That's one action. Well, I guess it's 2. Draw your sling and fling it, so you can shoot another one if you
I'm
want.
gonna shoot him again. I'm gonna go, can't you people take a hint?
Clearly no.
That's gonna be a 19.
19 will also hit him. Even if you forgot the -5, that still hits him.
That's a 6.
So you take 6 more damage. You hit him in the other eye. Staggering over towards the table, he's gonna make his way up and Roman he's still got the lights in his eyes. He's still dazzled. He hits with these pebbles. He has no idea who shot
They
him.
call
honestly.
me Buckshot Broadshield for a reason there, Sonny.
He raises his hand and looks down at Marn, who at this point is totally over this fight, I'm sure. Raises his fist and just turns and swings at Rogish. And does a 23 hit you?
Oh boy! Yes! Ever.
You take 5 damage, and he goes to swing again and feels like he's made a mistake. Kind of waits. Rogish!
And that's when he knew he fucked up.
All right. So I'm just sitting here enjoying the show, drinking my
Punched you
ale,
while you were drinking.
and I get punched while I'm drinking. And this
Ales.
is enough to make me spill my ale. Where is he in relation to me?
Probably right behind you.
right at the edge of the table next to you. Well, you have your like 3 that are sitting on one bench that's still there, and these 2 had their. Oh yeah, because you hit him from behind, because you're by the door. He has no idea what happened. He turned around and looked, and he yelled "Call in the eye," and turned around and said it wasn't Call in the other eye.
All right.
But you're sitting on a bench with
I have a
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
him,
I'm
where she
like on
was.
the end of the bench. He's come over to the
Yeah,
bench.
he's come
hit
over,
me.
and Marn sat down next to you. He kept a swing at Marn and stepped a little further and just swung at you instead. He's kind of behind you.
Okay. All right.
You done fucked up.
I'm gonna kick him in the nuts. Specifically aiming for the nuts. We're gonna do one better. As I'm standing up, I'm gonna bring my knee up into his crotch.
So the thing we forgot, if you want to use your dragon tail attacks, entering a stance is actually an action.
That's fine.
Yeah, we forgot that in the first fight. It takes you an action.
Well, I said
to-
I got ready, got in stance, and had my long spear at the ready as they were coming.
Okay, I'll give you that. But normally, like, so this, if you want to stand up and be in dragon stance,
Yes.
and give him a full dragon tail to the nuts.
Yes.
You stand up, you take your stance, and you hit him in the dick with all the power you can muster.
Nut up or shut up.
Flurry.
Flurry of blows. The speed. They call it the speed bang.
We're going for 2 knee strikes directly to the ball.
Flurry of no.
Flurry of no.
Oh boy, is that what I think it is? That is a 15, so that's a 21.
That doesn't crit, but that will connect.
Okay.
And then give me
Second.
roll your second at a -5.
8? No, that's a 3, so that misses.
Okay, so
You need a different die.
Yeah, that one's really hard to
step
read.
up and you set him up with 1 and strike with the full power of your monk training
So that's 7.
directly to his testicles.
Directly to his
For
testicles.
7 points of
After
damage.
his eyes have been taken out.
He just falls over backwards onto the ground. And
That's
that
so
man
satisfying to watch happen to one of those.
That man is clearly done, and he is.
I'll
no
just spend the
longer-
rest of the few seconds left after kneeing him just shaking off the air.
Filippo will run into the room and go, "Are you okay?
Come
here, sweetie.
Is everything okay?
It's
Is
over.
everything
Come
okay?
here. You're
And I'll-
okay."
It's about to be over.
The front door to the tavern opens up with 3 of you would still see. And another man walks inside with some glorious mutton chops and handlebars hanging almost down to his
Oh, I
shoulders.
really hope he likes it the way I like it.
With a cowboy head perched on his head, stumbling in with one hand up and the other hand holding up a badge that he comes in the door trying to pin to his shirt and just gives up and starts waving it around. He says, "Aye! You louts! Knock this shit off right quick!" And very quickly, as he arrives, starts waving this around, everything starts to kind of...
Oh my god, it worked.
Calm down. Well, you don't want to fuck with the sheriff. The drunken farmers do at least have a line somewhere.
That's good
A few
to
more
see.
punches are thrown, and it takes about a couple seconds to get everyone to really stop and everyone to stop yelling and swinging and more just sitting and groaning and holding their heads and stomachs and groins.
Eh.
And
One man's testicles exploded.
Delma comes in behind him, the arms crossed, very unimpressed with everybody in the tavern, and starts looking around with a sigh. Just starts walking through, making sure nobody's like actively dying or anything. And,
Okay.
Come on.
I'm gonna swoon into Filippo's arms.
I'll pick her up. And carry her
Can I
back
see if
out.
there's a lot of damage to the bar?
Well,
Or
a
tavern.
couple tables have been flipped. There's ale and porridge everywhere, but there's a couple blood stains. No real major damage. No, they didn't. do
Okay, good.
anything
They didn't
rowdy
damage
enough
too
to-
many tables
I
or
mean, nothing's
chairs.
really, nothing's like really broken
If
out.
not,
Maybe-
then I have to
maybe
use my
a
services.
couple mugs are shattered, and that's about as far as it's gone, really.
Turn back while I'm leaving with her and go, "Lady, if I could get another bowl of that lovely porridge, my first one was spoiled, I would be much appreciated."
And she just lays her hand. Oh, of course, I can. A whole other pot up here. This ain't too out of the ordinary, all things considered.
I'm gonna bring my friend out there and make sure she's okay.
All right, and as you guys go out, Rolf, the sheriff, waving his badge around, starts motioning to whoever's still standing or was throwing punches and pointed them. And be like, "You get over there in that corner. No, Don't want to hear nothing. I'll put you in the jail. You know that's just my cellar and you hate that. Get over in that corner. No, Jarvie, put it down. Get in the corner. I will talk to you all in a minute. And he looks over at the group of you and sees that you're just kind of sitting at your table. He doesn't really recognize you. There's a couple people on the ground around you, but you don't seem to be doing anything terribly out of the ordinary. But
we're with Bort. He points down at the guy who's
Yeah.
passed out on the ground.
as Delma's looking around, Delma sees him, is like, oh, and hurries over and tears off just a bit of one of the table rags and starts soaks
he's
in
fine.
some ale and starts dabbing his
He's not
forehead. Yeah, he's all right, but
We still got hit in the head with a chair.
We all came out of it a bit of the worse for wear.
And so
I say as I'm perfectly coiffed, haven't taken a single hit,
Yeah.
and I'm perfectly clean and unharmed.
the sheriff starts
Too bad
running
Mark
around
got
in
punched
the
in the nuts.
corner, and one of the guys on the ground is holding his
In front of everyone, too.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
even better.
who's holding his nut, points up at the group of you at the table, and they're all like, well, you lot too, get over in that there corner.
I'm gonna sniffle up to him.
Oh, you're
I will
cute.
attempt to use diplomacy to try to get out of this.
Okay, good. Roll me make an impression check. He's not
Hopefully.
super inclined to listen right now, but I'll let you roll a quick one.
22.
All right, well, fair enough. He sees you sniffling and sad. He sees
So
you clearly.
I'm a diplomat.
Like,
It's like we're just traveling.
he motions at the group you're using. All right, well, outsiders or no, you two get over there.
Okay.
I take the bowl of porridge and I get one spoonful before I put it back down.
And I
And
jump.
I walk over to the
So he literally
stalking
just
to the
kind of
corner.
rounds
I'm
up
trying to put my
everyone who
diplomatic immunity
who
in
was
there.
in any way participated in the corner, and finally gets his badge pinned onto his shirt and just holds up a finger. Like, I swear to Gazra or whoever that one traveler coming through talking about that heavenly farm man you worship every damn week. The same thing with you fools. Anybody heard? You knocked out poor Bort traveling through with his caravan. Who done did that one? He looks around
I'll
and,
point at the guy who's on the floor, who he knocked out before he went down.
Yeah, the guy that punched him in the dick.
That punched him in the dick.
Yeah.
Well, looks like he got his what for. But I swear, if I have to have this talk with the group of you again, get out of here. Get back to your home. You two go do whatever.
Walk back over, pick up my bowl of porridge, and
At
I
this
will
point-
have my next spoonful.
At this point, Bort starts to wake up
You okay,
Port's
Bort?
cool.
with Delma attending to him. And he looks around. Oh! I don't remember laying down on the floor.
Yeah, you have another
I'm
tale.
sorry, Bort. You got
to
hit
add
in the
to
head
the
with the chair.
collection.
What? Oh, yeah, well,
It was a dragon.
not the first time this is. I thought it was a bar stool.
Nope, dragon.
What the hell happened?
You were asleep. It happened in your dreams, but it was real. And now you're awake and everything will be okay.
You just have this big knot in your forehead, like right
He
here.
looks at you very seriously.
I was like, I don't know what the damn hell. Oh, I just need me some of this porridge. And then he
Here you are.
pulls himself
It's
under
kinda
the
cold.
table. Because your table is largely okay.
Yeah, we're
Oh, yeah,
we
kept-
defended it well.
Yeah.
The bench is over there somewhere.
Anyone who disturbed the table was promptly kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
One guy got close, and the rear guard took care of
And
it.
he starts to bite, take a couple bites of his porridge. He's like, that'll do.
Is it good porridge?
That's damn good porridge.
That's good. That's good porridge.
Amora knows how to make it right. He yells out towards the kitchen, and you hear her voice in the back. Damn well do, Bart! And he starts digging into it. And as everyone kind of settles down, a couple of the farmers slink out, a couple of them protest. They want their food, and the sheriff doesn't seem like he cares that much, and just kind of waves a hand, whatever. And heads up to the bar and the male bartender is still there. The server starts picking some of the stuff up and trying to clean some things with Delma's help. And
I'll help them using prestidigitation
you
because it'll
start
happen way
casting some
faster.
magic and clearing some stuff up, and the sheriff just pours himself a mug and drinks and sits down at the bar, just shaking his head. And,
Well, if this is the kind of show you have every week, Sheriff, I'd love to stick around.
and he turns over and looks at you. No, you don't get thinking this is all the normal show of the feed mill. That was more than I'd like, I can tell you that. But this dance we done did too many times, but it ain't that common. Welcome to Matron's Volley. And just takes a drink. And this turnip porridge is pretty awesome. Whatever turnip porridge would sound like it's supposed to be, or however good it would be, it's actually phenomenal, which is pretty out of line with the mediocre to average of everything else that you've received here, with the loaf and even the roasted boar is just kind of there
I will
at
write
best.
a haiku about it. Porridge is a
I'd
very
have
odd
to
word
give
to
the
write a haiku
entertainment
about.
2 stars because the bar fight was fantastic, but the music was terrible.
Flonk is at this point been sent off. The sheriff dismissed it. He also left too.
He's
And,
smitten.
As Bort starts eating, he seems to start feeling a bit better and just gets back into another one of his nearly infinite tales. It's like, well,
About the time he got hit in the face with the dragon.
I don't know nothing about a dragon happening here, but I can tell you about one time I had a run-in with the wizard man told me it wasn't technically a dragon after the fact, but the thing, big old lizard, breathing fire across the countryside.
I can tell dragons.
It sure seemed like a dragon to me.
Drake, probably.
Uh,
In that part of the world.
He said it was it's technically a wyvern or some sort.
Wavernus flappus.
Sorry. Oh, I didn't take that hit super well. Well, he takes another bite of the porridge. But back in my day, when I made my way up in this mountain,
Port. What? Here.
He starts choking at his face, starts turning real red, real fast.
Is he choking on something?
And he make me a heal check.
Let's try to save our boss's life
A
again.
medicine check?
22.
22.
Well, the 22, I'll give you that. You lean over and try to help immediately. And he's coughing up, but you get his mouth open. You look. He doesn't look like he's choking on anything, but his throat has almost completely swollen shut, closing his windpipe. And at this point, he's just like gasping and gagging. He can't even get coughing sounds out anymore. If you want anyone who is trained in medicine,
I am.
Yeah.
Me.
Lots of
can
training in medicine.
attempt to make a trained check to another one to try to assist him.
Did you say a train wreck?
A trained
Yeah, pretty
check.
much.
It's
Because I rolled good now, and
Like
I'm gonna
this-
roll poorly.
This with your medicine
Boom, there it is.
check there.
7.
This doesn't look like even allergic reaction or something. This looks like he's been poisoned.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So anyone who's trained can try to make a tree poison check.
Yeah, well, I made it 7, so that's definitely a no.
I made a 19.
He's not gonna do it.
I made it 23.
23 is not going to do it.
What?
Ooh.
Oh, goodness.
I have a 22.
As you try your hardest, whatever this is, it does not seem to be a weak or common
Use a
strain.
spell!
It's a fairly virulent poison, and the three of you together, all trying to do anything you can with your medicine check. You know, you probably could grab a knife and Delma bring one over from the counter for you to try to help. But there's
Can we pour ale down his throat and try to get him to throw up?
and
Because
try
that's the
and
only.
pour ale down his throat. It doesn't even get into his throat. It's so swollen, just behind his mouth and behind his tongue.
Can I, and this is obviously an anachronistic term, but can I do a tracheotomy on him?
By the time you get the knife, Delma hurries one over, grabs one from the kitchen and brings it over, and you wipe it off, try and make it clean.
I'm the worst fighter ever. I don't have a dagger.
You reach down.
I have a dagger.
Bort is already dead.
Oh no, my boss.
And in just moments, he went from perfectly fine telling his tale to dead here, slumped over the table in the feedmill.
Uh,
The sheriff isn't really sure what's going on at first, and just almost a silence falls over the inside of the tavern, and eventually he makes his way over and sees you guys are clearly trying to help him.
yeah.
Move out of the way, you say. He looks down and feels for a pulse and can't find anything, and Delma comes over and tries to help, and she can't get anything ever. And Delma just looks up at the group of you. What happened?
He was fine.
He
He
ate-
just started choking.
He ate the porridge and he just went white as a sheet and he couldn't breathe.
And she just looks up back to Rolf, like, completely out of her depth. He's dead! And the whole rest of the tavern just looking over, with occasional glances at their own food, just sit there in an eerie silence.
Ooh.
And that is a perfectly good place
That's
to
a
wrap up.
spectacular
Wow.
place to wrap up.
That
The
is
first
perfect.
session of the Fall of Plaguestone, I figure, and we can come back to this one at a later occasion. Next week, I believe, if we're gonna do this as a proper weekly
Heck
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good
Do
to
it.
me.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, we have our hook. I didn't give you a whole lot really to go on when you were making characters because I told you it is kind of a you're just caravan members and things happen campaign.
This
Well,
is the thing.
this is in fact a thing.
I done been hooked.
Yeah, you done
You
been
killed
successfully
my
hooked.
boss.
You killed
That's
your
even
boss.
worse than killing my dog because my dog doesn't pay me and my boss does.
Getting paid is going to be a relatively difficult problem, and the sheriff, also
goes our
very
thirst over.
clearly out of his depth, isn't really sure what to do. He's not suspicious of you guys, obviously, because you were clearly trying to help him, but with the last end of the session, he tells you guys to wait a moment while he thinks about how he's supposed to handle things.
That could take more than a moment.
And we will pick this up next week at the same time. This is going to be our regular thing now, chat. Now, we're working through the technical side of things here because this is a very new setup to me, and I have to break what is a surprisingly strong habit. This is actually crazy. This is an ingrained habit to me. I have a table of people in front of me, and whenever any of you talk to me in character, my instinct is to look this way.
It's
Because
okay. I don't actually exist anyway.
that's normally what makes my face look towards the camera on the Roll20 show instead of looking fucking at you literally. And I look at you while you're talking to me. And then I go to respond and I do this.
It's okay.
These are all your dice, right?
It's a
Yes.
surprisingly hard habit to break. But those of you here in the chat, thank you for hanging out for our first trial session here. It seems like everything has largely worked. This is a setup we will, of course, be fine-tuning in the future, and something we definitely want to keep going. We're using this Fall of Plaguestone to test out 2nd edition, and then we're going to move into a proper full AP, which will probably be Age of Ashes, as it's the only one that currently exists. So, we are going to have 2 consistent Pathfinder shows that I'm running now. The Monday show over on Paizo, and the Tuesday show here at the actual goddamn table that's finally happening with these guys. So, good night, everybody. I personally will see you all next Monday for more Pathfinder because we have to go out of town for a week. But we will all see you Tuesday for the 2nd episode of The Fall of Plaguestone.
Because it's what we do.
It is what we do. We get involved in things and we hopefully don't die, and we try really hard not to get punched, and it mostly works, but only sometimes.
Desna protects.